that won 7-0 here against Leipzig to equal Manchester City's biggest European win. 3 changes for Bayern. Cancelo, the City loanee, drops to the bench for them. Former Liverpool winger Sadio Mane and German great Thomas Müller are amongst the subs as well. So Leon Goretzka, Kingsley Coman and Dayot Upamecano come in there without their top scorer, the former Stoke man, Eric Maxim Choupo-Moting, who's had a brilliant season, but he's out with a knee injury. So we are underway in front of a full house here in Manchester at the Etihad. Bayern Munich getting us underway, playing in their red home kit, kicking from right to left, and Manchester City in the sky blue shirts, the white shorts and the sky blue socks, picking up possession with Grealish down the left-hand side, taking on Benjamin Pavard and getting past him brilliantly. Grealish to the edge of the area, slides it in. De Bruyne won't quite run for City in the box. De Bruyne is trying to win it back. Bayern trying to get the foot in. Bernardo Silva's up there as well. De Bruyne lifts the ball up to the back post. It's over the head of Gundogan, who will pick it up on the left-hand side, and out to the left he goes with Nathan Ake. Manchester City will slow it down just and pull it back to Diaz. But my word, Dion, didn't they start with some energy there, having won the ball back from Bayern?
Yeah, just great work, just making sure they clear their lines, getting the ball out wide to Grealish. Grealish has no help at all. He thinks, right, Pavard, I'll have a run at you, no problem at all. Let's see what you've got. Breezed past 2 players and nearly created something for City.
Yep, great start from Grealish, who says he believes he is in some of his best form of his Manchester City career at the moment. But here comes Gnabry into the penalty area for Bayern, cleared away at the back by Ruben Diaz. Got a little deflection as well, but picked up on that left-hand side by Bayern Munich, and they'll send it all the way back to the halfway line, and Matthias de Ligt squares it to Upamecano. So Bayern Munich in possession out on that right-hand side, almost stolen by Haaland on the halfway line, but Kimmich will keep hold of it, and here they come down the right now. Bayern with Coman, frenetic pace to this game in the opening 2 minutes here on 5 Live in this Champions League quarter-final. Ake gets the block in, will spin away to Diaz, cleared away up towards Haaland on halfway, and will be picked up by Upamecano once more, dinks the ball forward, but Ake will steal possession and clear out to the left-hand side. So we get our first look at this Manchester City formation, and it's an interesting one so far. John Stones just dropping back at the moment into central defence, but he can step up into that 3-man midfield with Manchester City in possession. But at the moment it's Bayern Munich, so Stones dropping back as the ball is over the head of Manuel Akanji, and will bounce out of play. But interesting, Dion, that it's Stones going central and Akanji coming over to this right-hand side when it's the 4 for City.
Yeah, and I'm slightly wary about that, and you know what, Sani's pace against Akanji, I'm not sure how that's going to work. We'll see how the game pans out. I mean, on the other side, you've got Ake against Kingsley Coman as well. I mean, he dealt with Saka in the league quite effectively. Maybe they're backing him to deal with Coman again one-on-one.
So Nathan Ake has it over on the left-hand side, and now with City in possession, they do switch to that back 3 with Stones in midfield. So in possession, the City formation for now is Ederson in goal, as Akanji under pressure from the former Manchester City man Leroy Sané, and Ederson came to clear that ball out. Akanji decided to square it instead to Ruben Diaz.
He did the right thing. He did the right thing, Vicky. He did the right thing. He did. The keeper came running out. I mean, Karen will tell you better. You want your defender to deal with that, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, ideally, you don't want you want your defenders to defend, and the goalkeeper, obviously, as good as Ederson is, like, any sort of hesitation is going to be dangerous in terms of the way this Bayern Munich team has started this game, I think.
So Ederson in possession inside his own penalty areas. Gnabry, the former Arsenal man, waits just outside the box. So Ederson in goal for City. The back 3 of Akanji, Diaz and Ake. Ahead of them, Stones and Rodri sitting. De Bruyne and Gundogan ahead of them, with Silva, Grealish and Haaland up front as the rain begins to teem down here at the Etihad. The wind swirling as well. Difficult conditions as Bernardo Silva picks it up on the right-hand side. Up against Alphonso Davies, the Canada fullback, so pulls it back to Gundogan just outside the penalty area, and now Stones will lay it off to Rodri, closed down by Gnabry, but Rodri dinks it out to the left-hand side, and here is Jack Grealish. Plays it in field to Kevin De Bruyne, and back to Grealish once more as the wind whips up around us.
It's strong, isn't it? It's really strong.
We're low down here in the bottom tier at the Etihad, but you're blocked normally from the elements. We are blocked from the rain as Haaland picks it up into the penalty area. Haaland left-hand side drives over the bar high into the City crowd. But normally you don't feel any impact of the wind. And the fact that we're hearing it at the back of the press box here and feeling that breeze around us, it just shows the challenge of the conditions out on the pitch for these players.
Yeah, you just got to keep the ball on the grass. As soon as that ball goes in the air, it swells in the air, then it's a bit of a free-fall. So they'll both want to get the ball on the ground, play through the third, see what happens. Half a chance that for Haaland, I think.
Yeah, 44 goals for the season. Would have perhaps expected a little better from Manchester City's main man, although was from distance on the angle. As Manchester City have it on the halfway line with John Stones. So Bayern Munich with Sommer in goal, deputising for their regular number one Manuel Neuer, who's out for the season. He's come in and done well, the Switzerland international, though, after arriving in January from Borussia Mönchengladbach following Neuer's injury. So he keeps goal for them. The back four of Pavard, Upamecano, De Ligt and Davies. Ahead of them Goretzka, Musiala and Kimmich, with Koeman, Sane, the former City man, and Gnabry, formerly of Arsenal, up front as Bayern Munich pick it up on the right-hand side and send it all the way back to Jan Sommer, all in black this evening. He plays it out to Matthias de Ligt and out to the left-hand side, and Alphonso Davies, who enjoyed such a good World Cup with Canada, went down in history for them as well, scoring their first ever goal at a World Cup finals. It's played forward to Kimmich, who plays it forward down the centre, looking for the run of Musiala, but he won't reach it. Manchester City pick it up once more. Dion Dublin.
Yeah, he does that really well, Stones. If he sees any danger, if City give the ball away, he'll just drop maybe into that right back. He might even go inside Akanji and drop in between Akanji and Diaz just to make a four again. So I think that's why he's allowed to play that role in there, Stones. He's very intelligent. He knows when to go. He knows when to stay.
6.5 minutes played here in Manchester, and we are goalless in this Champions League quarter-final. Also goalless in the other quarter-final. Also kicking off at 8 o'clock, Benfica against Inter. And a reminder, we have full commentary of Real Madrid against Chelsea live from Spain tomorrow. 315 live as Bernardo Silva advances down towards the byline. Good defending by Davies. Lays it off to De Bruyne, who swings the ball in, and Gundogan was there, and Gundogan met it just behind Haaland, who missed his header, and Karen Barnsley. It's one of those where Manchester City would have hoped that Haaland just got there ahead of Gundogan, but he didn't, and it's over the bar.
Oh, it's a beauty. I mean, Bernardo Silva does so well to work Davies and get some space to create for himself, and he sees obviously Kevin De Bruyne at the edge of the area, but whips in a beautiful cross. I mean, we've seen that so often, to find that back post, overhead kick or header from Haaland, and unfortunately just didn't connect this time.
Yeah, got one against Southampton at the weekend, of course. Beautiful finish from a man who is looking to score his 45th goal in all competitions.
Stop it, please.
I'll pause for you to laugh, Dion, because it is that ridiculous.
That is just, oh my word.
Bayern Munich win the ball just inside their own half. It would set a new record if he does score for a Premier League player for goals in a single campaign in all competitions. Here come Bayern down the right-hand side, lay back to the former Manchester City man, Leroy Sané. And now Kimmich, the Germany midfielder, to his compatriot Goretzka, and all the way back to Matthias de Ligt. Bayern Munich, as we mentioned, enjoying a very good Champions League campaign so far. But this, Thomas Tuchel's fourth match in charge after the surprise dismissal of Julian Nagelsmann last month. He's been knocked out of the German Cup in the quarter-finals. That was a shock by Freiburg. 2 big wins, though, in the league, particularly over their title rivals Borussia Dortmund in his first match in charge, which took Bayern top of the Bundesliga. They lead it now by 2 points ahead of Dortmund, and it's one of those games that really could be title-deciding. Bayern Munich fans will certainly hope so. Here they are in possession with Sane out to the left-hand side. Plays it in field to Alphonso Davies, and now Sane once again taking on Bernardo Silva, runs into Rodri, and Bernardo Silva will pick it up over the halfway line, pursued by Sane. Silva still going. Very good challenge by Kimmich. And De Ligt will send it back to Sommer. Haaland is closing down, but Kimmich's going to be such a key player for Bayern in the centre of the park.
Yeah, they seem to just look for him to keep things steady, get the ball to him, and he'll just keep it moving. He won't go too far, stay in that middle of the park and dictate things. Great challenge that time on Bernardo Silva. It was rescuing tackle.
Not such a great challenge by Rodri on Musiala, right in front of Thomas Tuchel.
He wasn't happy, was he?
So free kick to Bayern Munich, and they get us underway once more. 9.5 minutes played here on 5 Live. Goalless in this Champions League quarter-final first leg. Here is Alphonso Davies for Bayern, just inside the Bayern half, plays it back to De Ligt and Upamecano. All the way back to Jan Sommer as Manchester City send Rodri up to join Haaland and De Bruyne just outside the penalty area, and Bayern then play over that press. Here is Gnabry out to the right hand side midway through the Manchester City half, and now Kingsley Coman. It's marshalled well by Ake and Grealish, so infield Bayern go. Kimmich now plays the ball over the top. Opportunity here to get the ball into the area. Kingsley Coman has it taken off his toes inside the box by Gundogan. Bayern pick it up once more though. Out to the left hand side they go, and Davies will drive. It's wide, and let's head for an update from England against Australia at Brentford. Kelly Summers.
26 minutes gone, Vicky. England 0, Australia 0. A reminder, the Lionesses 30 games unbeaten, but Australia, ranked 10th in the world, have started well here. Lauren Hemp is getting some joy on the right, but the Matildas are holding their own, and they do look dangerous when Sam Kerr breaks. The ball's fizzing around too on this wet surface, perhaps part of the reason this game hasn't truly settled. And Vicky, this feels weird. I shouldn't be updating 5 Live listeners on England. You are the voice of England. 0-0.
Well, you can listen to commentary with Maz Faruqi and Chili Flaherty over on 5 Sports Extra. Manchester City in possession midway through their own half. 0-0 here. Latest for Scotland's women, they lead Costa Rica by 2-0 in their friendly, and earlier it finished Portugal 1, Wales 1.
Can't you be in 2 places at once, Vicky? You're needed to be in 2 places at the moment.
Vicky can. If anyone can.
Sadly not as yet, Dion, that is not in my portfolio, but very glad to be here with Dion Dublin and Karen Bardsley, and with you listeners on 5 Live as Rodri fizzes the ball back to Edison, and again the wind whips up around the Etihad, the rain is swirling as the interception is made by Kimmich and bounces out of play for a Manchester City throw.
Vicky, you know what I've just noticed as well? Speaking of the wind swirling around, it's just blown Edison's towel onto the end line over there, so that might need moving.
Yep, one of the ball boys or ball girls might need to spot that. It's just inside the 6-yard box at the moment by that near post for Edison. All in dark purple, the Manchester City goalkeeper. Neither goalkeeper worked as yet. Sommer for Bayern and Edison for Manchester City, as both of these sides continue to test each other out as the ball is fizzed back by Grealish to Nathan Ake, and Pep Guardiola stands with his arms folded on the edge of his technical area. Did say in the build-up to this one that Bayern are not a team built to think it will happen second leg. They're coming to win. Says he knows that culture very well from the 3 years that he spent there. So far, it's a tight game. 12.5 minutes gone as the ball is lost by Akanji down the right-hand side. Picked up by Leroy Sané, who plays it in field to Musiala, who goes down. That time he gets no joy from the referee Jesus Gil Manzano. And Manchester City have it on the left-hand side. They're still just inside their own half. They're now Gundogan will take it over the halfway line. Nice layoff by Grealish to De Bruyne. Grealish will chase. Pavard will get there first, the French defender. And does well to shepherd that ball right in front of that away contingent of Bayern Munich fans, as Bayern can't keep hold of it though, and Manchester City pick it up just inside the Bayern Munich half. Goalless here in this Champions League quarter-final on 5 Live. Commentary coming up tomorrow of Real Madrid against Chelsea, and we'll be hearing from our commentary team of Ian Dennis and Chris Sutton at half-time in this game. Here is Bernardo Silva, right-hand side of the penalty area, trying to ease his way past Alphonso Davies. He stands up well, the Canada international, but Silva does better, gets the ball across, cleared away by Kimmich at the back for Bayern. Out to the left-hand side of the area, where it's picked up by Leroy Sané. But he's dispossessed by Akanji, and Bernardo Silva has it once again. Now he was barged into by Jamal Musiala there. The linesman was right there, didn't see anything wrong with it. And Sommer takes a touch, and closes him down, almost on the goal line. And Sommer just about gets the ball away. It goes out for a Manchester City throw, and there, Dion, is Haaland's predatory instinct in a nutshell.
Absolutely, that's the spark that this game needed. A spark. It was that challenge on Bernardo Silva, right in front of the referee's assistant, and then it went a little bit messy. They tried to play across the box. The keeper doesn't like that, surely. Not in front, not 2 yards off his line.
No, I hated that. I'm not gonna lie. Anytime the ball was coming across the face of the mouth of the goal, I needed to put my foot through that.
Manchester City take the throw. Great pressure by Haaland. Sommer just about doing enough to get the ball away. They've won another throw. Manchester City level with the edge of the Bayern Munich penalty area. Goalless as the Etihad raises its voice. Haaland trying to turn inside the penalty area, but is challenged, and then late challenge by Grealish on Coman, right on the edge of the Bayern Munich penalty area. Free kick to Bayern Munich, and this may be a stern talking to and nothing more from Jesus Gil Manzano to Jack Grealish. But got to be careful with those sort of challenges. It is a clumsy one, Dion.
It is, yeah. I think Jack was... I know Jack reasonably well. He can get frustrated when he's been manhandled or his teammates have been manhandled. He likes to get involved and let his opponent know that he's not going to accept being kicked or his teammates being kicked. That was a little bit late from Jack, a bit messy, but get the ball forward to Jack as soon as possible, and to Bernardo wide as well, because that's the way they're going to get in.
Former England striker Dion Dublin and former England and Manchester City goalkeeper Karen Bardsley here with us on 5 Live this evening. 15 minutes gone, goalless as Manchester City win a free kick just inside their own half. Lifted over the top by Ruben Diaz, out to Grealish on the left hand side. Beautiful control, but the pass is just behind Haaland, and here comes Musiala for Bayern Munich. Played in field and now out to Musiala once again, left hand side, well anticipated by Bernardo Silva. Akanji then does well to slide in and keep possession for Manchester City. Ball goes out of play for a throw to Bayern. Pep Guardiola's furious, he's out of his technical area. He wanted a free kick for a foul on Akanji.
Yeah, I think it was a free kick and City giving the ball away as well. I think Jack gave the ball away. The understanding between Jack and Haaland, they're not quite clicked yet, but he's not happy with the way that they're giving the ball away and he wants them to squeeze quicker. That's the motion we're seeing. That's the way that City have to play. That's the way that City always want to play.
Here is Upamecano playing at centre half for Bayern. Played forward now through the thirds to Kimmich, and now out to the right hand side as Bayern advance once more. Here is Kimmich once again just outside the centre circle, plays it back to Upamecano, and Karen Bardsley. 16.5 minutes gone. It's been fairly even so far, but City looking the more dangerous in and around the penalty area.
Yeah, I think Dion, you've said it beautifully. Haaland with his predatory instincts, he's always ready to capitalise on anything.
Here come Bayern out to the right hand side with Coman. Musiala's in the centre. Coman pulls it back to Gnabry, 20 yards out, thought about the shot. Musiala then slips on the edge of the D, out to the left hand side. Alphonso Davies, and now Sane into the area, blocked away by Akanji, who brings it down very nicely as well, but can't complete the clearance, and it will be a throw to Bayern deep in Manchester City territory. Alphonso Davies was going to take it a little bit further up. The referee gestures him forward, but eventually takes it pretty much from where he was anyway. And Bayern have the ball on the halfway line. Here is Upamecano stepping past Haaland, lays it off to Pavard, and out to the right hand side with Coman. Bayern in possession just inside their own half. There's been a goal in the match between England and Australia. Kelly Summers.
England 0, Australia 1. 33 minutes on the clock. Who else but Sam Kerr? It was a long ball forward. Kerr beat the offside trap. Leah Williamson was tracking back, thought she had control of it, but she only played it into the path of Kerr, who tapped home. England's 30-match unbeaten run is very much at risk. England 0, Australia 1.
Well, you can listen to commentary of that match over on 5 Sports Extra here at the Etihad. Goalless between Manchester City and Bayern Munich in this Champions League quarter-final first leg. Scotland's women, incidentally, are now 3-0 up in their friendly with Costa Rica. That has been playing for 40 minutes. Manchester City in possession midway through their own half.
Yeah, it's slowed down a little bit now. What City like to do is a cross-field ball. They play one side, they play 2 or 3 passes on one side of the pitch, and then what they do is they draw the opponents in to try and squeeze, and then they try and go for the crossfield ball. But tonight, Vicky, the wind is so bad that it's not reaching that opposite end of the pitch, and they're trying to play through the thirds, and it's just not working at the moment for either team.
Yeah, it's exactly that, as Bayern Munich have the ball just inside their own half. They just tried that crossfield switch that Dion was talking about, but it held up so much in the swirling air here in Manchester that Pavard had the easiest of tasks, the Bayern right back, just to wait for it to come down and head it away. Ball's out of play for a City throw. Karen Bardsley.
Yeah, it has been a really well-balanced game, I think. To your earlier point, Vicky, that one chance obviously for Haaland on the edge of the touchline, the goal line basically. But yeah, I think Bernardo's getting at Davies, quite enjoying that. Stones is picking up some good spaces, but I'm surprised that De Bruyne hasn't actually been on the ball a little bit more.
Here comes Grealish down the left-hand side, pulls it back to Nathan Ake, who will play the ball into the penalty area. The crossfield switch doesn't work for Bernardo Silva. Tried the little back heel to control, it goes out of play for a throw to Bayern, and the wind is just a variable that at the moment it's just so hard to predict.
Yeah, that tells me that the ball from Ake on the diagonal to Bernardo Silva tells me that went with the wind, because the one over to Jack Grealish actually held it up into the centre half. So it's swirling at the moment, and it's all about being patient and going to feet if you can.
That's what they're doing at the moment, Manchester City. Here is Bernardo Silva, De Bruyne on the overlap, De Bruyne down to the byline, cross in first time. Gundogan making the run at the near post. It's an excellent covering interception by Joshua Kimmich, who gets the congratulations from his teammates. It's a Manchester City corner.
He's absolutely bossing it, Kimmich. I mean, he's been that, metronome that we spoke about earlier in the week, Vic, the Keira Walsh role that she was playing for the Lionesses, just constantly getting on the ball, checking shoulders. But what a block that was.
So corner to Manchester City. Kevin De Bruyne is over this from the right-hand side, drifted in high to the edge of the penalty area, will come all the way to Jack Grealish, who's now midway through the Bayern half. Again, the wind playing havoc with those deliveries as Bernardo Silva plays it out to the right-hand side. That ball was on the ground, but it's poor Dion, it's past De Bruyne, it's out for a Bayern throw. City just losing their way a little bit in the last 5 minutes.
You know what, I think that was actually off the training ground. That ball from Kevin De Bruyne was purposely missed out. That group of players in the 6-yard box fighting for space, and Jack Grealish stayed out on the corner of the box on the other side. I think Jack was meant to come forward and take it on the volley, slowed it down.
So Bayern throw, goalless here midway through the first half, goalless in the other quarter-final between Benfica and Inter as well, as Gundogan plays it forward. Grealish feeds Haaland, first time shot, it's tamed from the edge of the area, and Sommer will gather.
Great play though, Karen, great play, little 1-2, Haaland in. Should score, shouldn't he?
Exactly, yeah, I think he really should have. But I mean, great awareness from Jack Grealish to go and press there. Nice little turn on the bar, a little pirouette and ball through to Haaland. But yeah, really should have finished it. We expect that from him now, I think.
Here come Bayern with Gnabry, the former Arsenal man, out to the right-hand side. City win it and then lose it again. Here is Gnabry, plays it forward, looking for the run of Leroy Sané. Very well cleared away by John Stones, slotting back into that centre-half role from midfield with Kanji out to this right-back position. And the ball will bounce out of play for a throw to Bayern Munich. Well, all right, let's get the former strikers and the former keeper's opinion. That's the second time in this match, and he does like to do this, Jan Sommer. He's taken a touch inside his penalty area. Yeah. Haaland's been right on him. As a striker, it must be encouragement, Dion, but as a goalkeeper, Karen, do you change the way that you play? Because Haaland is going to steal it.
I'll tell you why he's doing it. He's trying to draw the press. That's what he's looking for. He's looking for an extra option. Obviously, the keeper's the overload at the minute, the spare player. So as soon as Haaland presses, he's got to find that spare player quickly. But it's, he's an absolute unit, Haaland. Like, trying to run at you, it's like a freight train. So I can't imagine there's many players that he plays against on the training pitch that are as quick as he is. So he's got to release it a lot quicker than that.
Here come Bayern Munich with Leroy Sané, 25 yards out, plays it to Coman, right-hand side of the area, checks one way, trying to work room for the shot. Ake does well, holds him up, and Coman in the end, all he can do is prevent the goal kick, plays the ball out of play for a Manchester City throw, midway through their own half, goalless.
That's lovely from Ake. I mean, he's so balanced in his approach. Coman's obviously changing direction, up, down. He's really agile and well-balanced, but Ake is equal to it, absolutely equal to it.
Well, he's one of the players at the moment, Kingsley Coman, that is in good goal-scoring form for Bayern Munich. That had been one of the issues under Nagelsmann since the World Cup, but 6 of his 7 goals this season have come post the winter tournaments, whereas the likes of Leroy Sané, Mane, who's on the bench, have been struggling to find the back of the net since the break in November and December. It's Bayern in possession, goalless here. A reminder that Bayern have kept 7 out of 8 clean sheets in the Champions League this season, and that includes 2 games against Inter Milan, 2 games against Barcelona, 2 games against PSG. Yes, Manchester City tend to score for fun, and Haaland is foremost amongst that, but with Bayern in possession, still just inside their own half, this is one of their biggest tests in terms of a defensive unit that they're coming up against.
Yeah, I believe you're absolutely spot on.
Akanji misses the header. Davies down to the byline for Bayern Munich. Can they fashion an opportunity? Pull back to Musiala, just outside the penalty area. Turns one way then the other, the 20-year-old, and plays it forward to Davies once more. Patient build-up play. Coman's out on this left-hand side, forward to Sane. Now Musiala once again. Bayern camped outside the Manchester City penalty area. Kimmich now will play the ball into the box, looking for the run at the far post. Grealish is in there. In the end, it won't be controlled by Pavard, and it's out of play for a Manchester City goal kick.
Yeah, I think that's it. That's possibly Bayern's first controlled bit of possession there. You know, a minute or so on the ball, trying to fashion a way through City. Obviously getting back in numbers. Haaland 5-10 yards away from his own D, helping defend as well. I mean, Kimmich and Goretzka and Musiala not had any joy as yet, but when they do it with pace. So concentration is the key for City. Out of possession, definitely.
Here is Grealish in possession for Manchester City as Ake goes all the way back to Ederson. Manchester City, who are looking to make it 9 wins in a row in all competitions. It is their best run of form this season, and as it so often seems to come with Manchester City, they're putting it together at the perfect time, the business end of the season. Can they do so in Europe as well as domestically? They've lost possession. Leroy Sané. Ake goes diving in as Sané pulls the ball back. Musiala, excellent block by Stones and cleared away by Manchester City midway through their own half. But Musiala just starting to tick as Ederson, as the ball is played back to him, will get the distance on it and clears it over the halfway line up towards Haaland. De Ligt gets there ahead of the Manchester City striker, and the header is won by Kimmich. Out to the right hand side he goes, and now Pavard with Coman, who is really growing into this game. Ake stood up well so far on that left hand side as Coman does get the ball into the area, spins right across the penalty box and out of play for a throw to Manchester City deep in their own territory. So 0-0 here, 26 minutes gone. Let's check in on the other Champions League quarter-final first leg, Benfica against Inter. Sahel Sahi.
Yeah, 25 minutes played here, Vicky. Benfica 0, Inter Milan 0. A chance each for either side. Rafa Silva went close for Benfica. Inside the area, he thudded his shot onto the chest of the Inter goalkeeper Onana, and then a Serbian with a left-footed shot 30 yards out, screaming over the top for Inter Milan. Benfica 0, Inter Milan 0.
Thanks, Sahel. Sane dispossessed just outside the Manchester City area. And now De Bruyne has it over the halfway line. Out to the left he goes, and Jack Grealish in field to Ilkay Gundogan. Here is Rodri, 25 yards out. Plays it to the right, and Bernardo Silva. Haaland is waiting in the centre, just outside the 6-yard box. Bernardo Silva has 2 players there with him, and they hold him up well. So we'll pull it back to John Stones. Now Bernardo Silva once more. Patience required from Manchester City as Rodri. Big shout of man on as Rodri will curl the effort. Oh, what a goal! What a goal from Rodri! Just outside the D. It's a thunderbolt into the top corner, curling past the despairing dive of Jan Sommer. A moment of real quality from the Manchester City midfielder. It's his first goal in the Champions League, and what a stunner it is. Manchester City 1, Bayern Munich 0.
That's a brilliant finish. I've got to say, Rodri goes to strike with his right foot. He chops it on his left foot, and I'm thinking, go on then, use the wind, curl it in the top corner, and he didn't put any pace on it. He just left it on the wind. He just curled from outside to in, round 2 players. Sommer's got no chance. Karen, the keeper, when somebody strikes it like that, it's so hard to get across because they set it so far away from the keeper.
Dion, all I'm saying is, like, as a keeper, you want to obviously get everything. You want to be perfect, but you can't. That is perfection. You know, wow, holy cow. Just the curl on the ball, it's going top bins, but that is so poor from Kimmich. He needs to get up to the ball. You cannot allow a player of Rodri's caliber to have that much time to open up the goal, cut inside, and, you know, just put it on his left foot, and absolutely, like, the detail of the curl on that was a beauty.
3rd goal of the season for Rodri. A superb strike, and Manchester City with the breakthrough here against Bayern Munich. Sommer has it at the back for Bayern as they get us underway. Header is won by John Stones, out of play for a Bayern throw. Pep Guardiola's on the pitch. I mean, we know he's animated, but he's
yes.
straight out of his technical area. The 4th official is meandering up to Guardiola to just point out that fact. But it was interesting, Dion. While the players were celebrating the goal, Guardiola and De Bruyne were having a very animated conversation. That there's something more that Guardiola wants De Bruyne to be doing. That's what it looked like from here.
Absolutely, he'll always want more, regardless of them being ahead now. They haven't quite created the chances that he wants them to, and he wants them to press harder. That's what they're doing now.
Here they come with Bernardo Silva, forward to Kevin De Bruyne, takes it down to the corner flag, tried to dink it back into Bernardo Silva. It's blocked away by De Ligt, and it will be a Manchester City throw. I
think it's so interesting. I think just before the goal, Kevin De Bruyne started going and exploring on the left-hand side.
Here's the ball in from De Bruyne, won't reach Haaland in the penalty area. Ake will chest it down, handball in there by Ake, and it will be a free kick to Bayern. Karen.
And as I was saying, he's gone to join up with Jack Grealish, and as Silva went down that right side just ahead of the goal, I mean, you were kind of looking for De Bruyne to get joined in, but I think, was he wondering, if I go over here, am I going to take someone with me and create some space? And I think that's exactly what happened for Rodri, and he just went straight through the mid and got right on the ball and curled it in. Still hung up on it.
Alphonso Davies, dispossessed on the halfway line for Bayern Munich, gets the interception in as Rodri plays the ball back, and it will be a throw to Manchester City. So now it's John Stones' turn to get an earful from Pep Guardiola, who's again out of his technical area. The poor fourth official. I mean, he's not chasing it, but he's got his arms outstretched, and you can almost lip read it from here. He's saying, Pep, come on.
He's getting the steps in, isn't he?
Exactly, a couple of steps outside your technical area, but Guardiola's halfway down the pitch.
He's down. He's warming up. He's warming up. Get off the pitch, get in your technical area, Gaffer. What are you doing?
Exactly, get a bib on. As Bayern Munich play it down the left-hand side, Kingsley Coman will keep it in, switching over to this left wing again. Coman taking on Akanji. Akanji gets a foot in. Coman will still retain possession for Bayern Munich, who trail by a goal to nil here on 5 Live as Davies plays it back to Goretzka, and now De Ligt closed down by Kevin De Bruyne. Now Upamecano will play it out to the right-hand side, but it's intercepted by Grealish. Skips past Gnabry like he wasn't there. Grealish feeds Haaland. Central position, midway through the Bayern half, goes down, has found De Bruyne anyway. Ball ricochets inside the penalty area. Grealish pulls it back, and Bayern get the interception and will clear the ball. But Manchester City all of a sudden are looking so dangerous.
Yeah, just starting to click now. Jack Grealish is just beating his man with ease. De Bruyne's getting on the ball. Haaland's now looking a little bit more lively, and they're just taking control of the game itself. Bayern are getting frustrated, giving away silly free kicks as well.
Yeah, Bernardo Silva, the latest to go down on the halfway line, and Manchester City, who lead by a goal to nil, courtesy of that stunner from Rodri just before the half hour, will have this set piece as once again the rain and the wind whips around the Etihad, swirling as if a fine mist, but it's heavy out there. Challenging conditions as Akanji plays the ball over the top, looking for the run of Gundogan. It's just ahead of the Manchester City captain and through with Sommer.
That was a lovely ball from Akanji. I mean, we know he's got that in his locker. He loves a crossfield diag. We saw him attempt it earlier and it got held up in the wind, but this trajectory is nice and direct. It's just a shame that, Gundogan isn't the size of Haaland and probably not as flexible either, because Haaland probably would have taken on the outside of the right foot.
Chested down by Alphonso Davies. Pressured by Bernardo Silva, and Bayern Munich will send it back to Matthias de Ligt. Out to the left-hand side they go now with Goretzka, as Davies as an option. Koeman's gone in field. Goretzka uses Davies, the Canada fullback, taking on Akanji, who again stands up well. Goretzka wins it back forward to Musiala, edge of the penalty area, but Manchester City marshalling well. Kimmich's ball over the top though, decent one. Looking for the run of Zane on that far side, headed away by Ake, and will be picked up by Grealish and field to Gundogan, who sends it forward. A lovely touch by De Bruyne to Haaland. Manchester City really going through the gears now. Haaland goes down, advantage played by our referee Jesus Gil Manzano. Grealish has it on the left-hand side. Central now to Diaz. Over the halfway line. Now goes Akanji. Out to the right and Bernardo Silva. Manchester City 1, Bayern Munich 0 here on 5 Live. 12 minutes plus added time to play. And Brentford's shock on the cards. Could England's women be heading for their first defeat under Sarina Wiegman? They trail World Cup co-hosts Australia by a goal to nil. And it's goalless in the other Champions League quarter-final between Benfica and Inter. Out to the right-hand side, Kevin De Bruyne plays the ball into the area. Little deflection takes it over the head of Haaland, and Sommer comes, just gets something on it. Gundogan, brilliant save by Sommer. The whistle's gone anyway. Goodness me, what a fantastic stop by Jan Sommer. Now, what's the referee giving here? Initially, I thought he might have given the free kick. Manchester City have a player down. The players are moving into the penalty area, so it looks as though the corner might be given. Then there was no whistle. If it is a corner, this is a fantastic stop at the second attempt by Sommer. Huge reaction save as Gundogan follows in. Sommer, big left foot. Karen, that's outstanding.
What an amazing save from, I'm sure what the statisticians are going to say, a prone position. So he's on the floor, sticks a leg out, and what an instinctual save. But I think, there were some questions around, did Jan Sommer, clip Jack Grealish as he was running, but to me it was a 50-50.
So it is a corner, the save needed making, as Manchester City swing the ball in. It's right across the 6-yard box, still kept alive, won't quite fall in the area, and Bayern Munich do eventually get the ball away with Diaz lurking. Here is Bernardo Silva, right hand side, dispossessed by Gnabry. Diaz will play it forward, lovely bit of skill. Bernardo Silva can only play it into Alphonso Davies. Bayern struggling to clear their lines as they play out from the back, but in the end it's very calmly done as the cross-field ball over to the right hand side is picked up by Leroy Sané. Formerly of Manchester City, into the penalty area he goes, pulls it back to Kimmich, blocked away at the back by Jack Grealish, who was back there defending, but Bayern Munich still pressing. Out to the left hand side they go with Musiala. Manchester City leading by a goal to nil, and it's the goal scorer Rodri who does so well there, challenges Musiala, plays the ball off Musiala. It's a Manchester City throw.
Listen, just in that little 20-second clip there, I mean, Bayern, what a great cross ball. I think it was to Koeman, and Koeman's sprinting down the right hand side, but you've also got Leroy Sané sprinting down the middle of the pitch. Who's marking him? Jack Grealish. It just goes to show they're all working for each other so hard.
Long ball over the top. Someone's come a long way out of his penalty area. Does win the header. That's all he could do with it. And Bayern just about work it up to the halfway line. Out to the left-hand side goes Alphonso Davies. And now forward to Kingsley Coman. Receives the ball, is challenged by Bernardo Silva. Pulls it back to Goretzka. Central position. The Bayern Munich midfielder will go back to De Ligt, and now forward to Goretzka once more as they exchange passes, as Thomas Tuchel stands, cap on his head, cupping his hands around his mouth, shouting instructions. The man who got the better of Pep Guardiola when Chelsea beat Manchester City in the Champions League final 2 years ago. Only the second manager after Jurgen Klopp to beat Guardiola 3 times in a row, Thomas Tuchel. And as the ball is out to the right hand side, here is Kimmich midway through the Manchester City half. Nice little interchange of passes between Goretzka and Musiala, but Manchester City get the foot in, and it's all the way back with Akanji. And now Stones will clear out of play. Guardiola's furious. It's a Bayern throw. Half time, England Australia. Kelly Summers.
England 0, Australia 1. The Lionesses' 30-match unbeaten run is under threat. Sam Kerr pouncing after Leo Williamson misjudged a header back to Mary Earps, and that's the difference at the break. The Lionesses had over 70% of possession, but just 2 shots on target. Plus, they lost Lauren Hemp to injury. England 0, Australia 1.
Thanks, Kelly. Commentary the second half when it gets back underway will continue on 5 Sports Extra. Manchester City have won a free kick just inside the Bayern half.
Yeah, I mean, Jack's been outstanding. Kevin De Bruyne is now finding his feet. Bernardo Silva on this right-hand side is playing against Davies, who is a big, strong, imposing fullback. Bernardo Silva's just allowing him to go one-on-one, and then Davies is needing help, so that means he's going to get a 2-on-1. That means we've got a spare City player. Bernardo Silva just sucks players in and leaves space for his teammate, and that teammate more often than not is Kevin De Bruyne in and around him.
8 minutes plus added time to go in this first half. Manchester City leading by a goal to nil, have a set piece drifted into the penalty area by De Bruyne, well controlled by Akanji because the wind really picked that up as John Stones swings it to the back post. Header is met and then cleared away by Bayern on the edge of their own 6-yard box, and then Kingsley Coman just got a little shove in the back there, and it will be a free kick to Bayern midway through their own half. Karen Bardsley.
Dion, how much do you think that little shove in the back of Bernardo Silva earlier from Alphonso Davies had a role in this 1v1 duel that we're seeing down the right side for Man City now?
Yeah, I think I think it was the little sort of the spark that the game needed. Don't think the fans were happy with it. Don't think the City players were happy with it at all. And Bernardo Silva, he's got a little bit angry now, and he's playing even better.
Manchester City not happy. Pep Guardiola top of that list as Rodri concedes a free kick for what our referee says was a foul on Jamal Musiala. The referee is not happy with Bayern in terms of where they're taking this from, not once but twice, so they pulled it back inside the centre circle. Now they get the ball underway. Goretzka to Musiala. Can't squeeze it through to Gnabry, but they will pick it up with Pavard, and now Sane out on that right-hand side up against Ake. That's been a real battle. They've had Coman out there on the right. Now they have Sane, the former Manchester City player, but Ake has done his job very well indeed as they switch back out of possession to this back four with Akanji on the right, Ake on the left, and Stones and Diaz in the centre, Manchester City. Here is Upamecano, plays it forward to Sane. Lovely turn from the former City man. Out to the left-hand side he goes, and Kingsley Coman, Bayern looking to get back on level terms before the break in this Champions League quarter-final tie. Here is Sane, 25 yards out. Good foot in by Rodri. Will come to Kimmich. Out to the right-hand side he goes. Pavard's ball in. It's in front of every single red shirt in there, but will be collected on this left-hand side by Musiala. Played back to De Ligt, who plays it forward into the area. Coman, though, is ushered out of the penalty area. Tries to get past Akanji. Great challenge by Akanji. Concedes the corner, but he had to get that spot on there, and he did. Yeah,
I mean, they're just probing now. Bayern, a little bit of spell, edge of the box there, playing some really nice football. Bayern won't go away. They'll keep playing their football. Goretzka's now actually making an impact in this game as well. Coman and Sane have switched. So City have just got to get over the line till half-time at this scoreline.
5 minutes to play in this first half. 1-0 Manchester City lead. Bayern Munich with the corner, which their captain Kimmich will take. Coman's on the move inside the area as Kimmich plays it to the far post, cleared away by Manchester City. Musiala will pick it back up, right-hand side of the box, down to the byline, pulls the ball across. It's met by Gundogan, who clears away. There's no sky blue shirt up there to alleviate some of the pressure. They were all back defending. And Bayern Munich will be forced back eventually to the halfway line, where Davies goes back to Jan Sommer. So De Ligt has gone down here off the ball. Play has been stopped by our referee. Bayern were in possession midway through their own half. So Matthijs de Ligt certainly not a player that Bayern Munich would want to have any issues. The Netherlands international. No, he's been so good in the run of form in the Bundesliga so far, and he's been so consistent, and I think he's not really put a foot wrong tonight. So, hopefully he's all right. But something interesting I did notice, Dion, I don't know if maybe you picked up on it, but I think Sane perhaps could release the ball a little bit quicker coming through the midfield. I think you see, obviously you mentioned Coman had switched flanks and he's been up against Akanji. I think Akanji's got his number, to be honest. He's not been terribly effective, but what has been interesting is he's coming off the back of Akanji, going across the centre back, occupying that space between either Ruben Diaz and John Stones and trying to force a decision. They've pulled Akanji in to narrow up, and that ball is so available to Davies out wide, but it's just so slow in getting there. Yeah, he does. He likes the ball at his feet. He likes to see if he can take his opposite number on. By that time, though, he's had 2 or 3 touches. Yeah. The ball that was on has gone, and the opening has gone. So, yeah, maybe that's something they'll look at. But they are incredibly dangerous in possession. They move it well. Their positions are all interchanging as well. Bayern, they're all over the place in regards their setup. They're organised, but they know exactly what they're doing. Hard to mark. It's a lot of fluidity. Yeah, without a doubt. Well, De Ligt is back up to his feet. Initially, he's come over to the technical area and he's down again, receiving more treatment as Bayern get us back underway. The ball is back with Jan Sommer. Manchester City 1, Bayern 0. Rodri's stunner just before the half-hour mark separates the sides. Bayern still in possession, under pressure. Little push there from the goalscorer Rodri on Musiala, but sends it back to Upamecano, and now Sommer, who's closed down by De Bruyne. I tell you what, again, Manchester City are going to feel that they can get joy out of closing Sommer down. That time he did steer it back out to Upamecano. He plays it forward, won't be controlled by Gnabry, and Gundogan will play it forward once more. De Ligt is back on the field of play now, having received that treatment. So Bayern back up to the full complement as Ruben Diaz comes across and clears away in the left back position, momentarily moving out there to De Bruyne, and now in field to Jack Grealish. Good pressure, good hassling and harrying from Bayern, but Manchester City deal with it well. Manchester City, who are in the unusual position of having had 10% less possession than their opponents so far in this first half. 45% for City, 55% for Bayern. But City with the 1-goal advantage. Bayern have won it back though, just inside the City half with Goretzka out to the left-hand side. They come now, and Kingsley Coman up against Akanji once more. That's developing into a good battle. Akanji and Coman with Sane currently taking on Ake on the other side as De Ligt goes down. free kicks given, and the Etihad, I think, feels that Matthijs de Ligt made rather a meal of that.
Yeah, I'm going to say a 3-course meal, to be honest. It was terrible. He just jumped in the air. Haaland was nowhere near him. He knew he couldn't get hold of the ball, and he just threw himself in the air. Embarrassing.
I saw some acting like that over Christmas. I think it was a Jack and the Beanstalk.
I've seen it at the Olympics on the high board.
Yeah, 3-course meal with after-dinner mints as well, and coffee to follow as Bayern Munich have it just inside their own half, all the way back to Jan Sommer. Just going back to the issue that de Ligt had, we did see a replay. There was a little coming together between himself and Bernardo Silva. Nothing in it in terms of a penalty, but just a little bit of contact on the back of the heel for de Ligt. But he is back on. He's fit enough certainly to get through till half-time, and Bayern, I'm sure, will make a more in-depth assessment. Bayern, who trail by 1-0, 30 seconds plus added time to play in this first half of this Champions League quarter-final first leg here on 5 Live. A reminder, we'll be hearing from our commentary team in Madrid, Ian Dennis and Chris Sutton, ahead of our commentary of Real Madrid against Chelsea. Don't miss it tomorrow evening on 5 Live, as Kevin De Bruyne, under pressure, almost gave the ball away, but does enough to put enough venom on the pass to play it off Kingsley Coman, and Manchester City have a throw. Yeah,
it's amazing the way they play with Silva wide right and Jack wide left. I mean, they're literally they couldn't get any further on the wings, and it just makes the gaps in between the back four really, really big for De Bruyne and Gundogan to get into.
I think that's really interesting. Sorry to dive in here, but we've seen a lot of criticism from Edison early in the year about his distribution, and I just noticed there that I think they're just getting used to the way that Jack is dropping down the lines to try and get on the ball, and I think Ederson obviously expected him to be higher, so that relationship, obviously we've seen it grow over the course of the season, but it's still not quite there, is it?
Karen Bardsley and Dion Dublin with us here on 5 Live. We're into 2 minutes of added time at the end of this first half. Manchester City leading by 1-0. Akanji under pressure from Coman and Gnabry as well, so plays it back to Ederson, who takes the touch and plays it out to this right hand side, and John Stones advancing past the red shirts almost of Jamal Musiala, but in the end can't get past the youngster, so goes back instead to the goal scorer Rodri. Over the halfway line he goes now, plays it forward to De Bruyne, who lays it on, looking for the run of Gundogan. De Bruyne almost picks it up inside the penalty area, but sliding challenge will send it out to Leon Goretzka of Bayern Munich, and Bayern's turn to come forward into the final minute of added time at the end of this first half. Can Bayern fashion a chance as they look for a leveller, as Coman plays the ball into the area, headed away by Ake. Goretzka won't reach it on that far side. He does eventually get the foot in, and Bayern will come away with it with Pavard. Plays it in field to Leroy Sané, goes for goal. Oh, it was a fierce strike. Ederson might have had it covered. It bounces just past that far post, and a reminder of what the former Manchester City man can do.
Absolutely. I mean, Sané is looking to really take this game by the scruff of the neck, and if I'm being completely honest, he looks like the only one that's feeling it. But something interesting I noticed, Vicky, was when Kevin De Bruyne was progressing the ball down at the other end. This just speaks to how clever he is. He was using the referee as a screen. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but that just speaks to his mentality, his intelligence about how he plays, how he applies himself.
Half-time whistle goes at the Etihad, and it is the goal from Rodri, the stunner just before the half hour, just outside the D, killed it into the top corner. That is the difference between the two sides, and Dion Dublin alongside me. It is a half that Manchester City have grown into.
Yeah, it is, and you know, I believe that Bayern needed this half as well. I think City were growing into the game, getting better and better. I'm seeing signs of City being a little bit fitter as well, out of possession. Maybe a few of the Bayern players don't like the pace that City play at, and they're finding it difficult to match. But what a game to watch. What a great game to watch.
And Karen, tie still very much in the balance. First leg still very much in the balance in terms of the scoreline.
Oh, indeed. I mean, I think to touch on Dion, your point around the fitness, and I mean, Muller in one of his pre-match interviews obviously alluded to the fact that he knew that it was going to be proper graft tonight. Obviously, he's not involved in the starting 11, but I think the team knew that going into this game it was going to be a really, really tough one. But as soon as that goal went in, I think for Manchester City by Rodri, they grew in confidence by a few feet, and they just really put their foot down, didn't they?
It was a stunner, his first in the Champions League, and it's the difference at the break. Half-time at the Etihad. Manchester City 1, Bayern Munich 0.
Vicky, thank you very much. As you say, a fantastic goal from Rodri to separate the two sides. That did kind of change the game, Karen, but there was also a little incident between Alphonso Davies and Bernardo Silva that may just have sparked the City players and the City crowd into life.
Yeah, I absolutely think so. I think, he got a real shove in the back from Alphonso Davies, and I think he just went flying like a rag doll off the pitch. And I think everyone was fuming in the stadium, on the pitch. I mean, Pep Guardiola was going berserk with the fourth official afterwards, and I think you can tell that this is a team that mean business, because they were wildly offended, I think, by that, and decided that they were really going to go for it. And I think, what I was impressed by the most was, just as soon as that goal went in, it just looked like they really, really believe that they're going to take this game to Bayern Munich. But look, Thomas Tuchel's no slouch, and I know he's going to come out with a few changes and a huge impact in the second half.
Quite a few of you getting in touch on social media as well. John says Bayern will be disappointed to have conceded, but looking at their bench, they're prepared for this. They have a plan B, C and D. City can expect an onslaught in the last 30 minutes. Nicholas, though, says while the attacking is otherworldly, I've been so impressed with Man City's defence, both as a team and one-on-one. We'll be back with our commentary team of Karen Bartley, Dion Dublin and Vicky Sparks very shortly when the second half gets underway here at the Etihad. The other quarter-final first leg taking place in the Champions League this evening is Benfica against Inter Milan, watched by Sohail Sahi.
Yeah, half-time, Kelly. Benfica 0, Inter Milan 0. It's been an impressive start from Inter, though. They settled the quicker, but the first chance fell to Rafa Silva of Benfica. It was a cross from the left-hand side. The Inter-headed clearance fell to Rafa Silva. He was on the left-hand side of the penalty area, and he crashed his shot onto the chest of the Inter goalkeeper, Onana. Inter responded, and they continue to surprise with some fluent and flowing football. It's been a good half, this, Kelly. It's been intriguing. Half-time, Benfica 0, Inter Milan 0.
So, thank you very much. England's women find themselves in an unusual situation against Australia. Kelly Summers.
Yeah, 3 minutes of this second half play, Kelly. It's England 0, Australia 1. As you said, England not used to trailing. In fact, it's the first time Serena Wiegmann has ever had to give a half-time team talk when her side are trailing. England have started with a bit more zip, a bit more intensity. The ball's been completely in the Australia half as Georgia Stanway stands over a free kick around 25 yards out, just right of centre. I think it's going to be a while till they'll take it, so I'll let you know if they score from it. But England better so far at the start of this second half, but they trail by a goal to 0.
Kelly, thank you very much. Kelly Summers across everything, and if you want to listen to commentary, it's on 5 Sports Extra. Coming up, we're going to round up the rest of the day's sports headlines, and we'll preview Real Madrid against Chelsea. That takes place at the Bernabeu with commentary on 5 Live Sport tomorrow night, and of course second half commentary still to come from here at the Etihad. First though, it's time for the BBC News with Carl Hartley.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
President Biden says his priority is to keep the peace in Northern Ireland. He's due to arrive in Belfast in the next hour for a 4-day trip to mark the 25th anniversary of the Good Friday Agreement. Mitchell Rice is a former US Special Envoy to Northern Ireland.
I think that he understands the stakes. He understands the diplomatic moment that he's walking into. And I expect him to deliver a very positive message, though, of American commitment, of success and celebration of the Good Friday Agreement's achievements, and also some hope for the future.
Thousands of junior doctors across England have spent the day on picket lines after beginning a 4-day strike for higher pay. NHS bosses have warned that this walkout will cause unparalleled disruption, which will take weeks to recover from. Our health editor is Hugh Pym.
A resolution anytime soon seems highly unlikely. Steve Barclay, the Health Secretary covering England, made it clear that he wouldn't talk to the BMA if there was an impending strike and they had to back right off their 35% pay claim. The BMA, for its part, said it wouldn't call off the strike unless Mr Barclay came forward with a credible pay offer.
The International Monetary Fund predicts the UK will be the worst performing major economy this year. It expects the economy to shrink by 0.3% in 2023, but that figure is smaller than 0.6% forecast in January. The global economy is expected to grow by 2.8% this year. The boss of one of the UK's largest business groups, the CBI, says he's shocked that he was fired this morning after an investigation into complaints about his conduct at work. Tony Danker has apologised and said he didn't intend to make colleagues feel uncomfortable. And police divers have returned to the river in Lancashire where the body of the missing mother of two, Nicola Bully, was found. Officers say the force were carrying out work on the direction of the coroner.
Why is it called a smart speaker? Because it's smart. You ask it to do something and it'll be done. Just say, smart speaker, ask BBC Sounds to play your favourite music mix. Oh, that's nice. Or you can say, ask BBC Sounds to play that brand new podcast. Ooh. And you can even ask BBC Sounds to pause, rewind and restart live radio on your smart speaker. If only everything in life is that simple. For music, radio and podcasts, on most smart speakers, just say, smart speaker, ask BBC Sounds.
This is 5 Live, your football station.
The UEFA Champions League.
With Kelly Cates.
Second half commentary to come from the Etihad, where Manchester City lead Bayern Munich by 1-0 in the first leg of their quarter-final in the Champions League. Elsewhere, Leicester City have appointed the former Villa boss Dean Smith until the end of the season. Paul Ince has been sacked by Reading following a winless run of 8 matches. That run, plus a 6-point deduction, sees them fall into the Championship relegation zone. Tottenham Managing Director of Football, Fabio Paratici, has appealed FIFA's decision to extend his ban worldwide. Michael Salisbury, the VAR official who failed to award Brighton a penalty against Tottenham at the weekend, has been stood down from this weekend's fixtures. And Ben Chilwell has extended his contract with Chelsea by a further 2 years. Wednesday night on 5 Live Sport, live commentary of another Champions League quarter-final first leg. Chelsea go to Real Madrid. Before we bring in the commentary team that will be taking you through that one, let's hear from Frank Lampard, who spoke earlier on this evening.
I've been fortunate enough to manage in the Champions League in 2 seasons, and as a player it was always the special competition. So to be here as a manager, particularly when a week ago today even I didn't know I'd be here, is a huge honour for me, of course. And was, a big part of my thought process of, taking on the challenge here. This is an amazing challenge for me personally, as well as obviously for us as a team and a club. I know I've managed in this competition before. I know I've managed against big teams in this competition before, so I'm not daunted at all. In fact, I'm more excited than anything. Are Real Madrid favourites? Yes. And I understand why, because of the difficulties of our season and those things. I don't think that's a problem. I think those things are fine. There's no better carrot in football than trying to prove people wrong, or be an underdog and have a good result. I think it's one of the best things. I've been part of that, and on both sides actually. So I think that's a nice challenge for us. So I'm not worried about that. And in terms of the pressure, I'm not worried about that. Football at this level is pressure. If you can't handle the pressure, then you're not a big club, or you're not a big player or participant in it.
That was Frank Lampard speaking in Madrid earlier this evening. Also in Madrid, Chris Sutton and Ian Dennis, who are your commentary team tomorrow evening. We interrupting anything, Dano?
Just a little bit, yeah. You're interrupting our evening meal, but whilst we've got patatas fritas, I understand that you've got a Tunnocks chocolate bar alongside your coffee.
I've got a cup of tea and a Tunnocks caramel wafer, and that beats a glass of Rioja and patatas bravas any day of the week, I'll tell you that.
I'll tell you what, that Tunnocks, you take that 89% Scottish with you everywhere, don't you?
Should we talk about the football?
Come on. Yes.
Should we talk about Frank Lampard and his comment? Yeah, well, I believe you've been trying out your Spanish and ordering a cerveza.
Mi aprendo español.
He's okay, Kelly, until somebody speaks back in Spanish, and then he's in big trouble.
Well, look, español un poquito.
Poco, not poquito. So, Chelsea against Real Madrid at the Bernabeu tomorrow night. Frank Lampard almost in his press conference kind of drawing a line under the season so far, saying, I know Real Madrid are favourites because of how Chelsea's season has gone so far, but he says that's not a problem. That's the situation we're in, and that's what we'll deal with.
He also said that both teams are under pressure, albeit for different reasons, but he was also, I think he's quite happy in the role of underdog. It's quite clear he's got the biggest respect for Carlo Ancelotti. Played under him, of course, at Stamford Bridge, won the League and Cup double. admires everything about the Real Madrid players in terms of their longevity and what they've achieved and the Champions League success that they've had on a consistent basis. But also he was asked a number of questions about leadership, and it was interesting that he talked at one stage where he said to be a leader you need to show in action as to show why you are. And he believes that they've still got those players who can perform, but the proof is in the pudding, because at the minute, despite all the money that Chelsea have thrown at these players to get them to Stamford Bridge, they might be a talented individuals, but they are yet to show the collective spirit. And despite Enzo Fernandez, who also talked tonight, he said we're united as a group, they're yet to really show that.
Chris, on those leadership qualities and the spirit that's required within the group, I wonder if the season that Chelsea have had so far, plus a new manager coming in, takes a bit of the heat off them ahead of this game, or if it ramps it up even further. Which way do you see it?
I think the pressure is off because of the sacking of Potter and Frank Lampard coming in. I mean, this team, you look at the individuals within the Chelsea squad, they are so capable, but because they have really underperformed in the Premier League, I think that the expectation is off them and all the pressure is on Real Madrid. Let's get it right, nobody expects Chelsea to win the Champions League, but you know, you look at the money which they've spent, and if it all does click, goal scoring has been their biggest problem, but if it all does click, then you know there's no reason why they can't beat Real Madrid over two legs. Real Madrid, who were 13 points behind Barcelona in La Liga, but we know that they always seem to find a way. Now, you know, Frank has to turn the tables and find a way for his Chelsea team to get through this tie.
And of course there are ties with Carlo Ancelotti, who won a Premier League title with Chelsea. He was asked whether he's sad to see Chelsea in their current state and if he'd return to help them.
Again, I'm sad, yes. I have a fantastic memory of this club, of the people that are still working there, and I am a supporter of Chelsea, of course, because I spent 2 years really nice there. Be back? No, I think that Lampard, I hope that Lampard is able to do a fantastic job with them.
That was Carlo Ancelotti. Deno, he's talking with a very relaxed demeanour, as we know that Carlo Ancelotti has. And this Real Madrid, not just this particular squad, but Real Madrid throughout the years have shown that they are more than capable of dealing with the pressure of any big occasion. It's not the occasion that's going to be the issue for them, it's their form. They're 13 points behind Barcelona in the league.
Yeah, and I get the impression that he probably has to win the Champions League to keep his job.
Do you think?
Yeah, I do. And that is crazy to say that, bearing in mind that obviously he won the La Liga last year, and he won the Champions League last year, they've won the Club World Cup, they've won the UEFA Super Cup. But the fact is that he's under pressure. He's also been linked, Kelly, as well with the national job in Brazil. So we'll just have to wait and see where his future lies.
Thank you very much for now, Ian Dennis and Chris Sutton. Back to your dinner. It sounds delicious. All right, you don't need to say bye then. Can you not say that? Can you not say that in Spanish, Deno?
I actually said adios. Hasta luego.
Hasta luego. Speak to you both later. Looking forward to listening to that tomorrow. It's Real Madrid against Chelsea in the Champions League quarter-final first leg. Up now, though, on 5 Live Sport is Manchester City against Bayern Munich. City 1-0 up from the first half. Second half coming up with your commentary team of Karen Bardsley, Dion Dublin and Vicky Sparks.
Thank you, Kelly. So both sets of players back out on the pitch here at the Etihad, and the rain and the wind has lessened slightly. So how will the conditions affect this second half? It's a game where Manchester City deserve this 1-goal advantage. Beautiful goal by Rodri, 20 yards out, straight into the top corner past Jan Sommer. But as we get underway for this second half, do you think there'll be a change of approach, Karen Bardsley, for Bayern Munich, or will we see them pretty much do what they did in the first half as they look to get back on level terms?
You know, I think they were getting a lot of joy, especially down the flanks. You know, I'd imagine that we'll keep seeing that service in 1v1s, you know, especially, was it Akanji and Coleman? I think they were getting some joy down there as well. To be fair, Akanji's dealt really, really well with Coleman coming across. But, yeah, no, I think that we'll see a lot more directness as well.
Here is Goretzka winning the ball for Bayern Munich. Plays it out to the left-hand side. Bayern in their home kit, the all-reds. Manchester City in the sky blue as the shot is driven in and saved by Ederson. Sane letting fly against his former side. Bayern starting this second half with intent, trailing as they do by a goal to nil. And Sane, Gnabry turns inside the penalty area, and Ederson comes flying out and gathers. But a real statement of intent, Karen Bardsley, there from Bayern early on.
It certainly was. I mean, it's a direct ball, but I mean, wow, what a strike from Sane. I mean, he hit that really, really nicely, and a really unorthodox save from Ederson. He kind of bent down and stuck out like a really strong, I think it was his left arm, and just to parry it away. But yeah, still effective.
Manchester City with the ball inside their own penalty area. No changes for either side at half-time, so we'll take you through the lineups in a moment. That is Karen Bardsley taking one for the team there as Dion Dublin was just finishing off his half-time pie.
Thank you very much for that, Vicky. Cheers.
Do you know what? It's because I was wondering why you were gesturing so frantically to me, and I realised...
He had a half pie in his mouth.
It was only a mini pie. Just
I'm
mini
here
one.
for you, Dion.
Thanks, Kaz.
Always, mate.
I'm back, Vicky, I'm back.
You're back. And to be fair, you ceded the second comment because it was a goalkeeper comment. So that's good team play from you, Dion Dublin.
Thank you very much.
Here on 5 Live. It's Bayern Munich in possession, trailing by a goal to nil. Over the halfway line they go. Bayern playing from left to right in this second half. Upamecano will send it all the way back to Jan Sommer, who was closed down on a couple of occasions, dangerously so, by Manchester City in the first half. Will that bear fruit for them in this second period? Haaland indeed almost converting on the goal line after charging down Sommer, as Musiala is brought down there by Bernardo Silva on the halfway line. Now it's a yellow card for Bernardo Silva, and it's one of these where I wonder if our referee Jesus Gil Manzano might have wished he'd let that play advantage, because Musiala had actually got past Bernardo Silva and was continuing to storm through the Manchester City half.
Musiala was just striding away. I mean, Bernardo Silva's just gone over to Musiala and just given him a bit of shake on the head as if to say sorry about that one, but he had to take one for the team there. He was away, Musiala, and he had options as well, so technical foul.
So Bayern Munich in possession on the halfway line. We'll take you through the lineups. When City are out of possession, it's a 4, but when they're in possession, it's a 3. So that is Ederson in goal. The back three of Akanji, Diaz and Ake, as Bayern breaking towards the penalty area. Sane again, good save by Ederson and cleared away by Nathan Ake. And Rodri will help it out to the right-hand side where De Bruyne will pick it up. He'll win the free kick as well. That might be a yellow card as the referee goes to his pocket, and indeed it is. So yellow cards all square early on in this first half, in this second half I should say, at the start of this second half. Alphonso Davies going into the book for Bayern Munich. But in terms of that City lineup, completing the midfield then, John Stones and Rodri, ahead of them De Bruyne and Gundogan, with Silva, Grealish and Haaland up front. And when City are out of possession, Stones drops back into centre half and Akanji comes out to the right hand side. So free kick to Manchester City. Bayern with Sommer in goal, the back four of Pavard, Upamecano, De Ligt, Davies, Goretzka, Musiala and Kimmich ahead of them. Musiala sometimes pushing forward into the 10 as well, with Koeman, Sane, the former City man, and Gnabry, the former Arsenal player, up front. As Bayern dally, Jack Grealish charges the ball down. Sommer, will he get there? No, he won't. Grealish urged out of the penalty area. Gundogan cuts it across. Sloppy by Manchester City. Not dealing with the sloppiness, Bayern Munich, as Haaland's effort is blocked from Sommer's clearance. Grealish picks it up on the edge of the penalty area. He's dispossessed by Kingsley Coman. Oh, it was a comedy of errors there from both sides. How Manchester City have not stuck that away as Grealish goes down. Throw to Bayern Munich. City had to score the second there. What on earth were Bayern doing in their own penalty area?
So sloppy. Upamecano there getting caught by Jack Grealish. Then it's a race between Sommer and Jack Grealish, and he wins the race. He puts it into a dangerous area. Bayern don't clear. Keeper gets caught again. Shot by Haaland is blocked. It was a bit of a mess on both parts, because City should have scored and Bayern should have cleared it. Real mess that was from both sides. I'm thinking to myself, Haaland 15 yards out, goal. Great defending though, body's on the line.
Yeah, it's a weird one. It just goes to show you, you know, like what hesitancy can do to a side. You know, I don't know if Upamecano didn't realize that Jack Grealish was that close, but yeah, really, really uncharacteristic mistake, I think, from Bayern Munich. And boy, are they lucky to get away with that.
Well, Grealish is still down receiving treatment, but it's exactly what we said at the start of the second half. But usually it's Sommer in the first half that was closed down. There, it was the whole Bayern defence.
Yeah, they're just playing too slow. They've got to know that City are not going to allow them that kind of space and time. Jack Grealish it was on this occasion. As soon as Jack went, Haaland went, De Bruyne went, Silva went, and they all went in behind Jack. I'm glad he's up on his feet now. Jack was down getting some treatment. He's up on his feet. He's walked off. He's okay, but they've got to be careful, Bayern, not to play too slow.
Yeah, but he's ready to come on, Grealish, and does come back on. So goalless here in this Champions League goalless. Manchester City lead by a goal to nil in this Champions League quarter-final first leg here on 5 Live as Bayern Munich have the ball just outside their own penalty area. Here is Upamecano. Plays it forward, it's a poor ball, it's intercepted by the City goal scorer Rodri, and now Haaland playing the ball forward, blocked by Kimmich, who blocked that Haaland effort a few moments ago inside the penalty area as Bayern Munich once again play their way out of trouble. They're taking risks doing it, but they are able to do it. But it's that final ball as they get near the halfway line that is given away by Upamecano, and John Stones will pick it up and send it back to Akanji, and now Diaz. There's been a goal in the other Champions League quarter-final. Sahel Sahi.
And it's gone to the visitors into Milan, Vicky. They lead Benfica by a goal to nil. A deep cross from the left-hand side from Bastoni, and Barella was gliding in at the far post and he stuck it away. A lovely header. Benfica 0, Inter Milan 1.
Thanks, Sahel. Manchester City with the goal advantage here at the Etihad on 5 Live. 8 minutes gone in this second half. England's women still trailing Australia by a goal to nil. The long unbeaten run under Serena Wiegmann. They've never lost under her. Under threat. Ball goes out of play for a throw to Bayern Munich. Karen Bardsley.
I love how clever Haaland is. He's just realised that Upamecano has had an absolute stinker for the last 2-3 minutes. And he's gone and just targeted him. He's just marking on him.
And here he comes now as the ball is intercepted well by De Ligt, but excellent spot, Karen. That's exactly what Haaland's doing. And again, it speaks to the intelligence of the man as Bayern Munich play it over the top, looking for the run of Gnabry. Headed away by Diaz. It's a poor header though. Gnabry latches onto it. Stones is there to help out his centre-half partner, and Nathan Ake now up against Coman, who picks it up for Bayern Munich. Appeal, the ball had gone out of play. Official says no, and Sane will drive, and Ederson beats the ball away. Well, Sane's got his shooting boots on in this second half, the former City man, 20 yards out. You'd expect Ederson to make the save, but it's still a good one.
It's a great strike as well. Sane now on site, 25 yards out on the angle, anywhere at all. He's striking the ball, and he sort of strikes it from the bottom up, so it bends, and the keepers can't even see where it's going to go. You can't have to gamble as a keeper, surely.
Oh, Dion, those are terrible. Obviously, there's no kind of spin, but there's so much movement, and especially on a night like this with a soaking wet pitch and swirly wind, about that ball can go anywhere.
Coman picks it up on this right-hand side for Bayern Munich, looking to get back on level terms. Pavard into the penalty area. Little deflection made it very difficult for Ederson. Off Diaz, tips it over the bar. Oh, that's one of those that could have looped over the Manchester City goalkeeper, but he did well. It's a Bayern corner.
Yeah, you know, Jack Grealish getting back and helping out his defence as well. He got a massive high five from Diaz. I mean, it's a corner. He did give a corner away, but the way that they defend together is absolutely fantastic. There was a lovely bit of coming together between Coman and Grealish. Look out for that one.
Yeah, good spot, Dean. It was Grealish that got the deflection as the ball is swung in. Brilliant header, cleared away by Manchester City. Not once, but twice. Goodness me, what defending. Diaz with the second clearance right off the goal line. It's behind for another Bayern Munich corner. 2 headers coming so close for the German side.
And it's great defending from Ake. Great positional play in terms of his awareness of what's around him. He's brave, he gets his head on it.
So Bayern prepared to take second corner in quick succession. Swung in again. Dangerous ball. Rodri heads it away this time. Back in by Kimmich. Flicked on, and Ederson should claim, and does, inside his 6-yard box. As the ball is cleared long by Ederson, and De Bruyne is on the chase, and Sommer had to get that clearance right, and he did. Oh, nervy moments for goalkeepers there, Karen Parsley. As Gundogan goes down, Free kick on the halfway line to City. Karen's thoughts in a moment, but a goal at Brentford. England-Australia, Kelly Summers.
Do not adjust your radio. It is England 0, Australia 2. A lovely quick passing move from the Matildas has ended with Sam Kerr crossing deep into the box. She picked out Charlotte Grant, whose header deflected wickedly off Leah Williamson to wrong foot Mary Earps and doubled the visitors' lead. England's 30-match unbeaten run very much under threat. 20 minutes remain. England 0, Australia 2.
Thanks, Kelly. Commentary continues over on 5 Sports Extra. Scotland's women are now 4-0 up in their friendly with Costa Rica. Here at the Etihad, Manchester City leads by a goal to 0, but that lead preserved by some brilliant defending, first by Ake from De Ligt's header, and then by Ruben Dias clearing off the goal line. Bayern Munich knocking at the door early on in this second half as the interception is made on the far side by Akanji, who's bursting down that right-hand side for Manchester City. Pulls it back in field to their goal scorer, Rodri. Square now to Gundogan, 20 yards out, a little bit of space. Dinked it left to Grealish instead. Grealish just outside the area, back heel to Ake. Ake drives and beaten away by Sommer for a Manchester City corner.
Yeah, Ake drives, but he should have gone across the keeper. Kaz, when you're like that on the angle, you've got to go across the keeper. You never know where the keeper's going to parry it. Went near post, wrong decision.
No, he's Sommer's done well to make it as predictable as possible for him. The angle that he takes up off Ake, but yeah, that was poor from Ake.
So corner to Manchester City. Kevin De Bruyne is over this. Plays it short to the edge of the penalty area. Bayern have switched off. Grealish lays it off to Gundogan just outside the D. Back to De Bruyne. Now swings the ball in. Chester down in the area. What a save by Sommer. Absolutely outstanding from the Bayern Munich goalkeeper. Manchester City are inquiring as to whether there was a foul in there, but the referee says no. It will be a City corner. Karen Bardsley, that's an outstanding stop.
Oh my goodness, the goalkeepers. I'm absolutely loving this second half already. You know, we're seeing an Ederson counter-attack into a Sommer header. You know, we're seeing fantastic saves over the crossbar. But, I mean, how about Bernardo Silva bringing that down in his chest? What composure. 6 yards out from goal. It's fantastic.
Out to the right-hand side, this corner will be taken. Swung to the far post. Bayern have a player down, and the referee has spotted it as Stones heads the ball across goal, and it will be a free kick to Bayern Munich inside their own penalty area. Well, Dion, what a start to this second half. It could be 2-2, it could be 3-2.
Yeah, it could be. Both sides are completely going for this. They really are. Kimmich went down just there, but the referee's just saying, are you injured or are you not? He's up on his feet and they're moving again, but Bayern know that if they switch off any more, City are throwing so many players forward into the box that they will score again, and they're being very, very positive. Everything's going through the centre of the pitch at the moment, through De Bruyne, Haaland.
And again, the pressure being put on Jan Sommer, the Bayern goalkeeper, that time by Grealish. The clearance is out of play, and Akanji will take this throw for Manchester City. City, who are unbeaten in their last 24 Champions League home games. You have to go all the way back to the loss against Lyon in September 2018. They lead by a goal to 0 here. If they avoid defeat, they'll set a new English club record of 25 Champions League home games unbeaten in a row. As Bayern Munich again with Sane to the edge of the area. Ederson comes out very quickly and clears away. De Ligt will send it back to Sommer. But Dion and Karen, you both said in the first half, Sane is looking like the player who can haul Bayern back into this tie.
Yeah, I think his left foot at the moment is absolutely on fire. He's striking the ball so well, and you can't give him any time at all in and around City's box. He'll hit the target. He has done 3 times already, and Ederson's been equal to it.
Here goes Gundogan down the left-hand side. Nice little back heel to find Jack Grealish for Manchester City, who goes all the way back to Nathan Ake. Square now to Ruben Dias. And now the goal scorer, Rodri, knew that he was being closed down by Musiala, so goes back to Ake, and now Dias once more as Manchester City slot into that back 3. Here is Haaland, looking to score his 45th goal of the season. City work it out to the right-hand side. Here is Bernardo Silva. There's the options in the box. Haaland is one of them in that central position, but Bernardo Silva has 2 Bayern players with him, and he gets past them both brilliantly into the penalty area. He goes in the end. Davies recovers well down by the byline, but Silva's won it back just inside the area, tries to pull it back. The shot is driven across goal. They're appealing for the corner. It's gone the other way. And in the end, the referee changes his mind, so it will be a throw to Manchester City. It just bounced off the corner flag, so did go out for a throw. Initially, it was given to Bayern, but much to Benjamin Pavard's disappointment, it will be a throw to Manchester City, and Jack Grealish is being told by the referee to take it right down by the corner flag where it did bounce out. But again, lovely move from City.
Yeah, Bernardo Silva down the right-hand side. I mean, he's got Davies, who's bigger than him. Goretzka came over to double up on Silva, but he's that clever. His body language is left and then it's right, and they just can't deal with his movement, and he gets by two players.
City have squandered the throw, but one possession back. Haaland on the edge of the area. Bayern get the foot in. Sliding in is Grealish. Rodri now to De Bruyne. Great vision looking for Bernardo Silva, but well read by Davies. And Davies will bring it away. The Canada fullback, but he's dispossessed by De Bruyne. And now here comes Bernardo Silva back to De Bruyne. Plays it in early, looking for Haaland. Cleared away by Upamecano. Akanji will win the header for Manchester City. Sends it out to the right-hand side, and De Bruyne exchanges passes with the goal scorer Rodri. And now Akanji under pressure goes all the way back to Diaz, who will send it all the way back to his goalkeeper Ederson.
Yeah, you know, we sometimes describe players as have got a great engine. I think Kevin De Bruyne has got two engines. I just don't know how he gets around the pitch so quickly, so smoothly, and so effectively every time he gets the ball.
Here he is again, slides the ball to Haaland in the penalty area, forced to the right-hand side of the box, pulls it back to Rodri, looking for the run of Grealish on the left-hand side, cleared away by Pavard, almost falls to Ake. Grealish then gets involved and wins it back for Manchester City, who lead here on 5 Live by a goal to nil. 16 minutes gone in this second half. Here is Rodri, who scored that goal, a stunner, just outside the D, top corner, just before the half-hour mark. Out to the right-hand side now, and Bernardo Silva finds De Bruyne. Back to Bernardo Silva, hugging that right-hand touchline, and all the way back to Akanji, and field to Rodri now. But this is where, Karen, Manchester City just settle into their rhythm, and it's exhausting for Bayern.
Yeah, it really is. You can see the overloads happening, particularly on City's right-hand side. You know, John Stones has taken a really advanced position through the midfield, but now he's coming across. A big shift from him to go and connect play to try and build up with Grealish and Ake and Ruben Diaz. But yeah, you're absolutely right, Vicky. They're just probing and trying to find that weakness, that moment when Bayern Munich just switch off to attack.
And here they come again down the right-hand side as the rain begins to team down once more in Manchester. Bernardo Silva lays it off to Kevin De Bruyne. Rodri's making the run. Here he is, Rodri, just outside the area, well intercepted by Goretzka for Bayern, and now forward to Kingsley Coman, who's over the halfway line. Stones is there with him. Coman goes out to the left-hand side, and Sane, who stung the palms of Ederson a few times in this second half. Now Musiala lays it off as Kimmich will have a drive, blocked away by Diaz just inside the area, chested down by De Bruyne, and now picked up by Grealish. Plays it back to Ake, who dinks it very cutely out to this left-hand side. That's brilliantly done by De Bruyne. Keeps it in, can't quite find Grealish, and Kimmich has it once more to Goretzka, and Bayern go all the way back into their own half. Now Kevin De Bruyne is down off the pitch, so play continues. The Manchester City medical staff are already over to the Belgium. Now the ball goes out of play. There's no reason here for the referee to stop play because De Bruyne is off the pitch, but this will be a concern, Dion.
Yeah, it will be, and I mean, I've been saying this for a long time. I didn't see the way he fell, but I can pretty much guarantee that, oh, it's his knee, his studs get caught in the ground, his groin opens up, his knee opens up. Really awkward fall, his left leg sliding off the pitch, his right leg is on the pitch, his studs are caught in the ground, but like the machine he is, he's up on his feet again.
Yeah. He is, he's been helped up to his feet. City want Bayern to put the ball out, but there's no real reason to do so, you have to say, from Bayern's perspective. De Bruyne wants to come back on. There's no stoppage in play yet. Guardiola's down on his knees in his technical area watching on because Bayern are looking to take advantage with City temporarily down to 10 players. Now De Bruyne is waved back on, so they're back up to the full complement. And Bayern Munich have it over on the left-hand side. Manchester City lead by a goal to nil, and Guardiola's got up off his knees and is standing with his hands on his hips. Bayern Munich in possession on the halfway line. Lovely turn by Musiala, plays it forwards, will be chased by Alphonso Davies, but he won't be able to keep it in. Did it get a little deflection on the way through? Well, Bayern certainly feel it did. Manchester City are asking the question, but it will be Corner kick to Bayern Munich right in front of that little away contingent. They're across all 3 tiers, that little section. The red banners and shirts in there looking as their side look to get back on level terms. Corner swung high to the far post and Ederson got something on it and punches it behind, and he needed to because De Ligt was coming in like a train.
He really was. De Ligt had an eye for that right at the back post, and Ederson did just enough to kind of just shape the ball into a really, really safe area and just kind of clear the danger and give the team time to reorganize.
So corner to Bayern to be taken from this right-hand side by Sane. Swings it in low. It's cleared away by De Bruyne, who looks to be moving pretty freely. I mean, it was one of those where he goes down to you and you think, oh, he could have done some serious damage there, but
sometimes,
fortunately...
Sometimes you frighten yourself and you think, have I done something here? Let me just stay still and move back to my feet slowly. He's got back to his feet gingerly, but he's okay.
Kimmich in possession for Bayern Munich, just outside the centre circle. Manchester City leads by a 0-0 midway through this second half. A reminder, do join us for commentary tomorrow of Real Madrid against Chelsea. Inter Milan are currently leading at Benfica by a 0-0 in the night's other Champions League quarter-final first leg. And England's women are trailing Australia by 2-0. Commentary over on 5 Sports Extra of that one as De Bruyne picks it up, bursting towards the penalty area. It took 3 players to stop him, De Bruyne, and he stayed down. Bayern Munich will bring the ball away. De Bruyne is now just gingerly getting up to his feet, but that's it. Anytime he goes down now, all of the eyes of the Etihad are on Kevin De Bruyne. Here is Kimmich in possession for Bayern Munich as substitutions potentially being prepared for Manchester City, and Alvarez is preparing to come on, and you just think, Dion, they're not going to take any more chances with De Bruyne, surely.
I wouldn't have thought so. He's been down a couple of times and he's looked like he's hurt, but he's been okay, but why not?
Out to the left-hand side go Bayern, ball into the penalty area, just about cleared away by Grealish as it spun out to the right-hand side. Pavard will collect as the ball goes out for a throw to Bayern Munich. So here is Julian Alvarez. Let's see if it is De Bruyne who comes off, or whether Guardiola's going to try something different. No, it's straightforward. You can accuse Pep of overthinking, but no overthinking there. De Bruyne clearly struggling. Off he goes. Julian Alvarez is on.
Yeah, and you know what? I think the manager's absolutely spot on. He's had a few niggles. He's fell in a certain way. He's absolutely livid. Kevin De Bruyne is not happy at all. He's sort of thrown his arm in the air as if to say, why are you taking me off? But the manager's just protecting the best player that he has. But De Bruyne is not happy at all.
Yeah, it's interesting. How do you read that, Karen? Because is that frustration at Guardiola? Is that frustration at the situation?
I think it's probably the situation, because I probably feel like he was just kind of getting into his groove a little bit. Especially in the first half, I think he had those really, really great moments. And I think he was hoping for a few more. He hasn't been involved as much as I think he would have liked so far in the second half. So yeah, ultimately I think he's just frustrated with the situation on the whole.
Here comes the Pamecano for Bayern Munich. Cleared away by Manchester City, but Goretzka will pick it up and send it out to the right-hand side with Coman. Ball into the area, and the header is allowed to go behind by Ederson, but they're getting closer. It is Benjamin Pavard there on the edge of the 6-yard box as Bayern Munich prepare to make a change, and it is Sadio Mane who gets a big double hand on the shoulders from Thomas Tuchel as he prepares to come on to replace Jamal Musiala.
Yeah, it's danger. Sadio Mane, danger. Now he is a man that will put himself in goal-scoring positions and he'll be able to score. You know, something out of nothing. He's that kind of player. We've seen him firsthand in the Premier League. We know how good he is. We've got to stop the supply to Sadio Mane. Coman now is getting a bit of joy down the right, Sane down the left, so work harder, I think the key is.
De Ligt wins the header at the back for Bayern, just outside the penalty area. Yes, he has 11 goals for the season. Mane, a season which has been disrupted by injury, missed the World Cup, of course, with Senegal, but has gone 11 games without scoring. End of October, the last time he found the back of the net. Back heel from Grealish, beautiful. Haaland into the penalty area, pulls the ball across, and there is the header from Bernardo Silva, and there is the second goal for Manchester City. They slice Bayern Munich apart and take a grip of this Champions League quarter-final City 2, Bayern Munich 0.
What are they doing in defence? I think it was Upamecano again, trying to play out, wanting too much time on the ball. It was Jack Grealish again that put him under pressure. You've got to learn your lesson. Jack Grealish nicked it off him, back heel into Haaland. I'm thinking Haaland's going to shoot. No, he doesn't. He just lifts it over to the far post. I'm thinking, who's there? Bernardo Silva comes from nowhere. A bullet header right past the keeper. Keeper's got no chance. Even with a header from Silva, keeper's got no chance. Great vision, great hard work, brilliant goal by City.
I love the fact that there was a little back heel as well. And I think that was that from Jack? No, was that from Jack Grealish? Yeah, it was. And just the awareness of Haaland to understand that there was just a little dink pass, and the header from Bernardo Silva was just phenomenal. What a low-driven header.
Who needs Kevin De Bruyne with assists like that? Beautiful from Haaland. Clinical from Bernardo Silva. So much power generated on that header. And Manchester City lead Bayern Munich by 2-0. Midway through this second half. And Pep Guardiola out of his technical area once more. But both sides, Dion, have had chances in this second half, but a key second goal for Manchester City as Sommer has it on the edge of his own 6-yard.
Yeah, I think it's just that ruthless edge that City have. When they get a chance, they do try to make sure they put it on the back of the net.
They've given the ball away again. Upamecano really struggling, comes to Gundogan into the penalty area, goes for the 1-2. Upamecano gets the foot in. Grealish now will curl it to the back stick. Silva's there again, good header by Davies. But Bayern Munich are rocking at the moment, and Upamecano's confidence is absolutely shot.
Yeah, he's shot, and all the City players seem to be wanting to find Silva in the air now. That's how good he's doing. Jack Grealish trying to find him at the far post, good defending. But City are really, really going for the throat now. Corner, outswinger now this time.
They lead 2-0 Manchester City. Can they find the third? Haaland is in there, making the run to the near post as the corner is swung high. It's headed away by Bayern Munich. Comes out to Jack Grealish, left-hand side of the penalty area, who steers it back to Gundogan. And now Bernardo Silva, just inside the Bayern half. Silva, who's got this second goal in the second half for Manchester City, as the ball is swung in high, comes almost all the way through, will be controlled by Diaz, who just had to keep it in on the byline, pulls it back, and Sommer will claim indeed Diaz wasn't able to keep it in, and it will be a goal kick to Bayern Munich, who are reeling at the moment defensively. They had the best defence in the Champions League coming into this match. They conceded just 2 goals in the entire competition, and they conceded 2 goals here at the Etihad here on 5 Live. After that second goal went in, incidentally, there were some scuffles in the crowd over in the Bayern Munich ends. Some of the Manchester City fans, as the header is all the way back by Rodri from outside his own penalty area to Ederson. Karen Barton.
Oh, you love to see it. I love when a team is on the exact same page and you know exactly what needs to happen. Rodri's tracking back. Obviously a ball in the air comes to, and he knows, look, I'm just going to head this back to Eddie. He's going to be ready.
So Ederson inside his own penalty area as Manchester City play it around the Bayern Munich press. So in terms of the formation for Bayern, Gnabry had slotted in just behind Sadio Mane. So you've got Koeman on the right, Sane on the left, as Ederson once more takes the ball inside his own penalty area, and Manchester City work it out to the right-hand side, and Akanji, who plays the ball off Leroy Sané, and it will be a throw to Manchester City midway through their own half. As Thomas Tuchel stands, arms folded on the edge of his technical area. What does he do now, Dion? He's such an experienced manager, Champions League winner, of course, getting the better of Pep Guardiola with Chelsea 2 years ago in the final. How does he get back into this tie against Pep?
I mean, he can't rush into anything. He's going to have to pick the right players to come out. I think Sadio Mane is definitely one that he has to get on the pitch. I'm sure that Muller will find his way on the pitch at some stage to try and settle things down. But they just have to move the ball quicker, Bayern. They're so slow at the back moving the ball. They play right into City's hands.
And they're coming over the halfway line, Manchester City, with Nathan Ake out to the left-hand side and Jack Grealish. City leading by 2-0. here on 5 Live. Grealish, left-hand side of the penalty area, laid off now by Rodri, who got things underway in the first half. Gundogan to Grealish, edge of the box, plays it in. Haaland still edge of the penalty area, tries to find Alvarez, just loses control. Play continues. Gundogan, left-hand side of the 6-yard box, pulls it back. Alvarez trying to pick his spot. Sommer makes the save, cleared away by Alphonso Davies. Bayern were asking the question, could that have been a free kick in there? We played on. It's out of play for a Manchester City throw. And again, what a huge opportunity to get another goal for Manchester City.
Sommer has been absolutely outstanding tonight. He does so well to change direction and get set as quickly as possible, and then he takes a leg out to his left and just gets a hand as quickly as he can, as fast as he can, down to make that save and to parry it into a safe area.
Just nestling in the back of the net. It's a great effort from Alvarez. He's just passing it into the corner from 8 yards out. Sommer just shifts his feet from underneath him and just palms it into a safe area. What a save.
Corner to Manchester City. They lead 2-0. Headed away by De Ligt, who beats Haaland to the ball. Here is Bernardo Silva. Back out to the right-hand side he goes as Manchester City look to keep up the pressure. Stones is in there, head to the cross. Haaland! And that is what he does so well. The predatory finish on the angle from close range. And Erling Haaland makes it 3-0 to Manchester City against Bayern Munich. 45 goals for the season, the most that any Premier League player has scored across all competitions in a single campaign. This man is quite simply the best in the world at this moment. Manchester City 3, Bayern Munich 0.
It was only a matter of time. When is he going to crop up? He's done so much work for other players tonight, Haaland. He's set players, he's crossed the ball for Silva, he's got himself on the score sheet as well. The fans love him. It's a little tapping at the far post, little right foot volley from 4 yards on the angle. Sommer comes out, but he puts it across him. Keeper's got no chance. I think it might be Stones that heads the ball down. That was a brilliant goal, a great team goal, and he was never going to be off the score sheet when City scored 3 goals.
It was too easy for Silva to get that ball in, and it was just far too easy to get John Stones on the end of that back post header to get the ball across for Haaland just to tap home. But, I mean, wow. They're really capitalizing some bad run of form from Upamecano and just kind of some drop in momentum from Bayern Munich. And I have to be honest, it's pretty great to see.
Bayern Munich under pressure again. Upamecano closed down by Grealish, and Sommer clears over the halfway line. Good header won by Stones, but Bayern Munich will send it forward once again. Gnabry, can they get a goal back? Sané's in there, Gnabry still going. Excellent challenge at the back by Ruben Dias. Big high fives amongst the Manchester City defence, and City are coming forward once more, looking to add to this 3-goal advantage and completely wrest this tie away from Bayern Munich as the ball is swung into the area by Grealish, cleared away by Bayern Munich. Haaland there. Was there a foul? Referee says yes, and it will be a free kick to Bayern. But just going back to that goal, Karen, you just know he's going to be there. I mean, it's a brilliant header by Stones, but
you do. All you got to do is put it back across the face of the goal, because you know, like, he's so predatory. You guys have said it yourself in the commentary. Like, he just frames the 6-yard box, right? He frames the width of the goal. You know exactly where he's going to be, so just put it across there, and he'll find a way to tap it home.
12 minutes plus added time to play, but there is a celebratory feel around the Etihad. And they've stolen possession again, Manchester City. Bayern Munich really rocking. Akanji into the area. Great save by Sommer once again, punching away Akanji's cross. And Bayern Munich clear. They just need to get a grip of themselves here, Bayern. They almost give the ball away again. Kimmich will play it back to De Ligt. Haaland's head down is pursuing Alphonso Davies out on that left-hand side. And Thomas Tuchel is sending on the experience of Thomas Müller, because that's what they need, Dion. They need experience. They need to calm down here as Edison makes the save from Leroy Sané on the edge of the area. Flag had gone up anyway. We play on as Manchester City are in possession. Bayern fans away to my right, defiantly holding those red and white scarves in the air as Manchester City play the ball up to halfway. Advantage played. Grealish decided he didn't want the advantage, so in the end our referee Jesus Gil Manzano gives the free kick, and now Jack Grealish is having a little exchange with Thomas Tuchel, who was telling Grealish to get up there as Bayern prepare prepared to make what will be a double change. Thomas Müller is on for Serge Gnabry, and now let's see what reception comes on here. Well, they put number 23 up, which is Daley Blind, the former Manchester United man, but it is Joao Cancelo, the Manchester City loanee, that is coming on. And Alphonso Davies is coming off.
What kind of response is that? I'm not quite sure. Is it boos? Is it cheers?
I don't think it helped that they put up number 23, which wasn't Cancelo.
At the same time, exactly, yeah.
So they might have been thinking they were booing Daley Blind, the former Manchester United man. So who knows? But it is Cancelo on. Manchester City in possession outside their own penalty area, leading by 3-0. Well, we should say there was no option for Manchester City to say in the contracts, the loan, that Joao Cancelo is going on in terms of Bayern Munich. There was no option to say, look, you can't play him, the UEFA rules, you can't do that, so he has to be available. Bayern Munich in possession. Here is Upamecano. We'll be heading to Benfica shortly. Inter were leading by a 1-0 last we heard, but Bayern pushing towards the Manchester City penalty area. Here is Kimmich. Send it back to the halfway line. I think they've realised it is Joao Cancelo, and he is getting booed from some of the Etihad crowd as Sadio Mane won't latch onto that for Bayern, and Erling Haaland has it once more, picked up by Julian Alvarez, halfway line, plays it out to the right-hand side, and Haaland, who has his 45th goal of the season, whereas Manchester City send it all the way back to John Stones, just inside the City penalty area, plays it forward to Gundogan, has it once more. City midway through their own half, leading by 3-0. Let's head for an update from that match. Benfica Inter, Sahel Sahil.
And Inter Milan, Vicky, have scored a second goal from the penalty spot. It's Benfica 0, Inter Milan 2. Romelu Lukaku, who's come on as the second half substitute, has rolled the ball in for his third Champions League goal of the season. It was a handball.
Driving from distance, just past the far post, and Manchester City look in the mood for a fourth. Thanks, Sahel.
That is just incredible. Jack Grealish, a lovely little header from Ake onto Jack Grealish. Jack Grealish is stood in front of his manager on the halfway line. He takes his opposite number on and he just lays it into Alvarez there, 25 yards out. He thinks, well, why not? I want to get on the score sheet. 25 yards out, tries a bit of dip and a bit of swerve, doesn't hit the target, but I think he might have beat the keeper if it was.
Oh, it was a whisker away from the World Cup winner. But it remains Manchester City 3, Bayern Munich 0. So yes, just to confirm, Inter Milan 2-0 up in their first leg, away to Benfica. Commentary, remember, on 5 Live tomorrow evening. Real Madrid against Chelsea. Do join us with Ian Dennis and Chris Sutton. But here at the Etihad, Karen, it has turned with 7 minutes less added time to play into a very satisfactory evening for Pep Guardiola and Manchester City.
It certainly has. It's quite a contrast to the two managers I see down here in front of me. And Pep, just looks like he just wants more and more and more. And Thomas Tuchel looks so infuriated. He's just like doing pirouettes of frustration down on the touchline. And I'm not sure, how much impact Thomas Müller and Cancelo are going to have. There's just not really enough time to really make that much of an impact. And I think what we saw from Sané was exciting for a few moments.
And here he goes, trying to race through the middle. He's there with Stones, who ushers the ball back to Ederson. And again, the flag was up on the far side. I like that double thumbs up from the referee to the linesman over on the far side. Playing advantage, but he'll stop it now because Stones has just pulled up with a slight issue. So play stops to make sure that Stones doesn't need to receive treatment. And we can head for full time at Brentford. Is England's long unbeaten run under Sarina Wiegman over Kelly Summers?
It is. They're saying we want Vicky Sparks back. The 30-match unbeaten run comes to an end. England 0, Australia 2. Sam Kerr's first half strike plus Charlotte Grant's deflected header in the second means Sarina Wiegman tastes defeat for the first time as Lionesses boss. With 100 games to go until the World Cup, 10th ranked in the world, Australia was solid and really lethal on the break, punishing a pretty uncharacteristically lethargic Lionesses. England 0, Australia 2.
Thanks, Kelly. And it has finished 4-0 to Scotland in their women's friendly with Costa Rica. So not the best preparation for England, who won the Finalissima, of course, at Wembley against Brazil last week. But to lose that unbeaten run, to lose that momentum, right before the World Cup. Not ideal for the European champions, who will be one of the big favourites at the tournament in Australia and New Zealand this summer. Ball goes out of play for a throw to Manchester City, and Pep Guardiola, he's not too happy there. Is that with the ball boy? He's not too impressed. Interesting.
Yeah, maybe the ball boy threw the ball back too quickly. It's our throw-in. I've told you before, do it slower.
So, throw to Manchester City, 5 minutes plus added time to play. Nathan Ake takes it up towards Erling Haaland. Ake then tries to play it off Kimmich, but can't do so, and it will be a throw to Bayern Munich. In terms of players making an impact, I mean, Sadio Mane, Dion, was brought on with plenty of time to do so, but he's been anonymous.
Yeah, he's not had a touch, has he? He's not had a chance.
And again, Bayern playing themselves into trouble. That back pass too strong for Jan Sommer.
Again, Vicky, Upamecano again. He's having a bit of a nightmare, isn't he? You've mentioned it so many times in comms that just doesn't look comfortable on the ball, does he?
It's amazing how confidence can drain out of a player, because that, unfortunately, is what we've seen happen with Dayot Upamecano, the France international. Could it be costly, even more costly than it has been for Bayern already? They've really been masters of their own downfall in the second half. They trail by 3-0. Manchester City corner, swung in looking for Rodri. Oh, what a save by Sommer. Rodri's header, 12 yards out, Sommer on the stretch. And the irony, Karen Bardsley, is that even though Manchester City lead by 3-0, Sommer's got a shout of being player of the match.
What a header. What a fantastic header from Rodri. And somehow Sommer just defies gravity, just float in the air and get 2 hands to that and just tip it over the crossbar. What a fantastic save.
Brilliant stop as Manchester City swing the corner in again. Now they're claiming for a penalty. The whistle has gone. The free kick's gone the way of Bayern Munich. There's no way the referee's going to let them take it from their edge of their own area. It's been very hot on that, our referee, but we are underway, so VAR either had a quick check or won't have time to check for the handball, because once you restart, you can't call it back. But still, Bayern Munich very much up against it, not just on the night, but in the tie. The second leg in Germany to come next week, but Manchester City have taken a real stranglehold of this encounter as Pavard, out of frustration, chops down Grealish and is into the book.
I wonder if Jack Grealish ever counts his bruises, because he must have a lot.
And just a little bit of pushing and shoving between the players. The referee just giving Joshua Kimmich a push on his way as well.
I think you're right, Vicky. I think what it was, I think it might have been Kimmich that was leaning over Jack Grealish as if to say, get up. The boys heard what he was saying. They weren't happy with him at all. So Diaz pushed him out of the way, and Aki came in as well, looking after their teammate.
So 2 minutes plus added time to play. And a very contented Etihad. It will be 9 wins in a row in all competitions for Pep Guardiola's Manchester City. It's their best run of form this season. They might add to their 3 goals. Here is John Stones out on the right wing, has Haaland in the centre. Pulls it back to Bernardo Silva, who flicks the ball crossfield to Grealish. Tries the curler from just outside the penalty area, but it's over the angle of post and bar.
Some beautiful passing within that little passage of play there. Bernardo Silva's ping into John Stones, and John Stones passes it back, and they just pass the ball with the right weight, and the nice crossfield ball there to Jack Grealish. Try to curl it in the corner. Obviously City are in control of this game when it comes to goals, but I think they've drained all the energy out of Bayern tonight. Bayern playing the game at one pace. Unfortunately, City play the game at a different pace, and it's a lot faster.
Upamecano out to the right-hand side, and Pavard. Bayern Munich struggling to get out of their own half at the moment, trailing by 3-0. And Karen Bardsley, former Manchester City and England goalkeeper, alongside us. You know, we praise Jan Sommer, but Ederson made some key saves at 1-0 as well that then allowed Manchester City, once Bernardo Silva headed in, to build to what will be this victory in the second half.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Ederson was fantastic, especially the very early start of that second half. I think City came out a bit lethargic. Bayern Munich had obviously had a real good talking to at halftime, and Sané looked like he was really, really up for it. I think Dion said that, you know, we saw 3 opportunities in relatively quick succession, and without that, I think, yeah, I mean, this could have been a different ball game.
Here goes Joao Cancelo. They're booing him. He might mistake it for shoot. The block is made by Akanji. for the on-loan Manchester City man, and out to the left-hand side the ball goes. Throw to Bayern Munich. If they could get a goal back, it would really change the complexion of this tie, because at the moment there is very little hope for Thomas Tuchel's side. Still the second leg to come. We know we've seen remarkable games in Europe. They're not out of it yet, but at 3-0 down, it's fingertip stuff in terms of clinging on. A goal back could change that. Into 3 minutes of added time at the end of this second half. Manchester City lead by the 3 goals as Mane brings it down for Bayern Munich. Out to the right-hand side now, and Kingsley Coman plays it back to Kimmich, 25 yards out. Plays it in field to De Ligt, out to the left-hand side. City all of a sudden dropping deep as Cancelo swings the ball in. It's headed away at the back by Ruben Diaz. Will come out to Cancelo again on the left-hand side. Again, the boost for the on-loan Manchester City man. Played in field now to Kimmich. This is Bayern's longest spell of possession in this second half. What can they do with it as time ticks away? Here is Coman. Drifts the ball into the penalty area. The header down is eventually cleared away by Nathan Ake as Coman was rushing in. Header is won by Upamecano, and now Joao Cancelo has it once more. It's Manchester City send the sky blue shirts up to the halfway line. We've played 1 minute of the minimum 3 added on. Manchester City 3, Bayern Munich 0, here on BBC Radio 5 Live at the Etihad. Out to the right-hand side, go Bayern Munich once more. Pavard forward to Coman. Has the option ahead of him of Thomas Müller. Brought on in this second half. Can he make an impact? Bayern man through and through. He's inside the penalty area. Müller falls wide out to the right-hand side. Pavard will get the cross in, and it's straight into the arms of Edison, and Karen Barnsley. It's that sort of time where you drop straight to the ground in your 6-yard box.
It's wasting time. Yeah, absolutely. Just takes the enthusiasm out of the Bayern Munich attack, doesn't it? I think everyone in the stadium, everyone on the pitch knows that this game is well and truly in City's control. And it's going to be exciting to take them to that second leg for sure.
Ball is cleared away by Edison over the halfway line. Haaland will chase. Jan Sommer should get there and collect. Bayern Munich's fans away to our right have unveiled a banner that says Sheikh Mansour out. It's right next to the City fans. Now, we've seen protests in Germany. We saw them through the World Cup about human rights. It's something that happens a lot in Germany, and Bayern Munich's fans have come prepared to unveil a banner against the Manchester City owner, who is the Deputy Prime Minister, of course, as well as being City's owner of the United Arab Emirates. Bayern Munich come forwards once more with Sadio Mane. Plays it to the right-hand side, and Thomas Müller pulls the ball across. Excellent sliding interception by Nathan Ake. Manchester City looking to close out this clean sheet and this 3-0 victory in this Champions League quarter-final first leg, as the ball is out to the right-hand side. Picked up by Bayern and Upamecano. They're all pushing forward the red shirts now. We're into the final 20 seconds. Ball into the penalty area. Cleared away once more by Ake. Grealish gets the distance on it, and that should be that, and that is that for Manchester City. A resounding first leg win in their quarter-final against Bayern Munich. Handshakes all around between Pep Guardiola and the coaching staff of his former club. But this is huge for Manchester City in their pursuit to win the Champions League for the very first time. More records fall for Erling Haaland, and Manchester City, Karen Barnsley, Dion Dublin have such a grasp now of this Champions League tie.
They really, really do. I mean, what a fantastic performance from this Manchester City side. I mean, Bayern Munich just looked like they ran out of ideas, especially, Dion, I don't know, 15 minutes into the second half. Just looked like they weren't getting any joy. Edison wasn't giving them anything. We had some really fantastic defending from Akanji, Ruben Diaz, Ake. They were all solid tonight. End-to-end stuff from Jack Grealish and John Stones giving it his all. I mean, just some fantastic performances, and obviously some goals, some fantastic goals.
I just think, we know City can score goals. We know they're great going forward. They've got all the flair and all the guile you need to create as many chances as possible. But they show a different side tonight. Everybody mucked in when it comes to defending. John Stones outstanding, Diaz outstanding, Akanji and Ake as well outstanding. I just feel that all the sky blue shirts out there played their part. Not outstanding, but to put away a Bayern team 3-0 like they did, brilliant.
A Bayern team, let's not forget, who hadn't conceded in 2 games against Inter, 2 games against Barcelona, 2 games against PSG. Tonight, they've conceded more goals than they have in their previous 8 matches in this Champions League campaign. And as you say, the clean sheet, such a boon for Manchester City as well. They have a real stranglehold on this quarter-final tie. It finishes after the first leg in Manchester. Manchester City 3, Bayern Munich 0.
Lots more with Vicky Sparks, Dion Dublin coming up very, very shortly as we reflect on this game between Manchester City. Really impressive win over Bayern Munich. We'll be hearing from the guys, we'll be hearing from Karen Bardsley, and we'll be hearing from you on social media. City favourites for the Champions League this year for me, says Mark. Haaland, he thinks, is the missing piece of the puzzle. Daniel, though, picks out Jack Grealish, saying he might not have the goal or the assist, but the contribution has been massive tonight. Nick says, for all the quality, I've been really, really impressed by Ruben Diaz, a superb player. But Richard points out outstanding play by every single one of City's players tonight. Not a single weakness on the pitch, he says, from anyone in blue. As I said, we'll have lots more from all the guys here, from Karen, from Dion and from Vicky. It's all over, or it's nearly all over, between Benfica and Inter Milan. Sahil Sahi.
Yeah, it is now, Kelly. It's Benfica 0, Inter Milan 2. A super evening in Lisbon for Inter. They were majestic from start to finish. Both goals in the second half. Nicola Barella heading them into the lead after a deep cross from Bastoni. The second came from the penalty spot. João Mario was penalised for a handball. Michael Oliver, the referee tonight, he checked the pitch side monitor and awarded the spot kick to Inter Milan. Lukaku, he did the rest. Benfica's first defeat in Europe this season. That could prove very costly. So after the first leg, Benfica 0, Inter Milan 2.
Sahil, thank you very much for that. Elsewhere, England's 30-game unbeaten run under Sarina Wiegman has come to an end at the hands of Australia. They were beaten 2-0 in their final scheduled game before this summer's World Cup. England and WSL defender Gilly Flaherty was part of our commentary team on Sports Extra. Gilly, was this the kind of performance that we're used to seeing from the Lionesses?
No, not at all. I mean, I think obviously over the 30 unbeaten game run, England have 99% of those games dominated it, you know, and dictated the tempo of the games. You know, they've sort of, teams have dropped off them, but they've controlled it. They've been able to do 1-2 touch around teams and been able to move teams because of the level of the opposition that they played against would follow the runs and sort of become disjointed. Where tonight Australia didn't do that. They were very compact, they were very disciplined defensively, and England couldn't break them down. So then England become frustrated and they sort of didn't have a plan B. And for me, Australia deserved to win tonight's game.
You said before the game you were worried about the lack of relationship between Esme Morgan and Jess Carter. Was that an area that Australia were able to exploit?
Yeah, I think you see, especially as the game went on, it become more and more exposed, and obviously then Jess Carter ended up coming off towards the end of the game. But I also think what didn't help Jess Carter was the fact that she wasn't getting much support from her wingers with tracking back. Ellie Carpenter is a fullback who's aggressive. She likes to join in, she likes to overlap. So there's only so much that Jess Carter can do, and I think you see it in the first 10-15 minutes of Lauren Hemp. She was tracking back, she was helping Jess Carter out with Carpenter, and then in the second half it sort of opened up even more, and she didn't have that support. Chloe Kelly wasn't offering it, Lauren James wasn't offering it, so she was all isolated there. And then obviously then the distance and the gap between her and Esme Morgan sort of grew as the game went on, and Australia exploited it.
Exactly 100 days to go now until the World Cup in Australia in the summer, where they could meet them in the last 16 of the World Cup. Is there anything that's concerning you from this performance? Can you put it down to a blip, given that England have been on such a brilliant run of form?
For me, it concerns me that I feel like they don't have a plan B. And it's funny because someone on social media has said that where before in the Euros, for example, Alessia Russo and Ella Toone was used as a sort of super subs, where now they're now starters, you know, so you don't have them coming off the bench and impacting games. They're now starting games. So what do you do if 65-70 minutes you haven't got the impact that you wanted from them? You can't bring them on again because they've already playing. So who do you look towards? Do you potentially change it and start Rachel Daly in games so that you know then you can bring Alessia Russo on and Ella Toone on for the last 20-25 minutes? minutes, because that's what worked for them in the Euros. So is that potentially what needs to happen now? Because obviously you had Ellen White starting in the Euros ahead of Alessia Russo. Do you now change it? Do you put Rachel Daly there as your number 9? I mean, you know how effective Alessia Russo and Ella Toon are. It's coming off the bench, but I just feel with England they didn't have that, and I feel they sort of played into Australia's hands by playing how Australia played. But the difference is, like I said to Maz, is the back four for Australia was set. England were trying to play long balls over the top for Alessia Russo or Rachel Daly, but the back four, you've not moved them. You have to move them, and that's what Australia were doing. They were moving and disjointing England's back four so that when they went long, the space was there.
Jilly, good to talk to you. Thanks so much for now.
Thank you.
Thank you to Jilly Flaherty there, and we'll bring you all the rest of the reaction to that on the Football Daily podcast, which you can download from the BBC Sounds and subscribe to on the BBC Sounds app. Here at the Etihad, straightforward for Manchester City with a 3-0 victory against Bayern Munich. Josh Stone says Josh has been outstanding. Guardiola has a knack of seeing things in players others don't and improving them. He's found himself at right back, centre back and centre mid throughout and looked comfortable everywhere. Chris says whoever ends up as man of the match must feel on top of the world. Haaland, Rodri, Stones, Diaz, Bernardo Silva, Akanji and even Ederson have been immense tonight. If this isn't City's year, I don't know what is, to be honest. We're here till 10:30 with more reaction to that win for Manchester City.